Tonight's guest is Scott Massey, living next to Alaskan Bigfoot.
Looking back on the life that you're leaving, let it rest in a hole in the ground. Stick around for the great revealing, or the fire you've been dancing around. All we hear is the sound of retreating. No one cares where you're coming from. My ears are still ringing and bleeding. I guess we all knew from the start. These are the days my heart goes numb. Yeah, one of these days will be the one. We're looking for answers. Oh, what a disaster. These are the days my heart goes numb. My heart goes numb. Breathing the fumes of the ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down the
Now, we're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Yep, that's the ticket. Now here are your Untold Radio AM hosts, Doug Hajicek and Jeff Perrella Jr.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you, Jeff?
I'm doing great. Good weekend.
How is everybody in chat? We got a lot of people in chat.
Yeah, awesome.
People are adjusting to our Sunday nights.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for following us this Sunday. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that. And it's a crisp one at that,
Yeah,
in the 40s. It's
been a couple nice days though. Can't complain. We had a couple of
yeah,
Friday and Saturday were just beautiful here. So
yeah,
great days.
It's almost 70.
Yeah.
Anyhow, tonight, though, we do hope you got your wood stove crackling, your fireplace crackling away, because you're going to want the warmth once you hear tonight's guest stories and some of the other things we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
So you definitely going to look forward to in meeting Scott Massey, who's had some really, really strange encounters at his remote cabin. Like, it's really remote. You have to take a boat to get there.
Cool.
So, yeah, he's had a
I'm looking forward to talking to him.
lot of experiences, and he doesn't, I don't think he likes to go public with it, but he seems to be willing to do it when I ask him. So
Yeah, it'll be a cool conversation.
Yeah,
He's
it
way up
should.
there in Alaska.
it should be. So yeah, you're gonna want to settle in, dim your lights, wrap yourself in a comfy blanket, grab a refreshment. Is that proper to say?
An adult beverage.
An adult beverage. Yes.
That's what I like to call them.
Yes.
An adult beverage.
I wish I had an adult beverage. I've got a spring water.
I got water. Lame.
Yeah, but we're gonna do weird marketplace picks. We've
Yep.
got a little tech breakdown tonight.
Yep.
We have clip picks, and we have some trivia. So a few fun things to do.
Yep.
We don't know if we'll get to it all, but we're gonna try.
We'll try.
So let's start with our weird and fast news.
Weird and fast news.
Weird.
It's time for weird and fast news. Yeah! It's time for weird and fast news.
So tonight we have fish that have to dance. That allows them to see with their dance, their body movements. So it's dancing fish that see with their body movements. So their body movements are their eyes. Does that make sense?
Sure. It's called the
kinda-
elephant nose fish. I wonder why.
It's kind of like some people once in a while you see at the bar.
Yeah.
They dance in order to see.
Yeah.
So it says researchers have discovered that the elephant nose fish, native to Western and Central Africa, perform a kind of a dance, twisting and shimming and pacing to help them perceive their surroundings. These fish emit weak electrical impulses or pulses that sense distortions in self-generated electrical fields. It's just like me.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I do.
Absolutely.
A process. Listen to this. A process called electrolocation. I've never heard that word,
Nope.
electrolocation. In new research, scientists showed that the fish use body movements that change how their organs sample the field, enabling them to discriminate between shapes behind a mesh partition by movements alone. So they did a lot of these experiments. Could you imagine just getting a grant for that?
Yeah.
Just
Studying
watch
elephant
fish
nose
wiggle.
fish.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Where's it all going to lead?
weird and fast.
That is definitely a perfect word in fast news. And then the next one is apparently they put tiny backpacks to reveal that bats that actually hunt big prey. So in a recent study, researchers equipped wild bats with the greater noctule bat, I guess. Yeah, that's correct. Noctule bats.
Greater noctule bat. Never heard of that one.
With a miniature biologger, and it's a little backpack that tracked movements, altitude, acceleration, and sounds during hunts. And the surprising results, these bats hunt large prey, such as frogs, even small birds mid-flight, diving from high altitudes and using hang and wait strategies rather than chasing prey constantly. And it's weird because bats are typically thought of as insectivores or fruit eaters. But apparently these are essentially aerial predators. I'm glad they're not 10 feet long.
Yeah. But now the other backpack, they're all set up for bat college.
Yes. This is kind of interesting. I made
Yeah.
that little miniature sensor and it stuck it
backpack.
on. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put one on you, Jeff, and see what you do at night.
I can dive down from the sky and take down
I
prey.
think you dive plenty. Yeah.
Dive. Sure. Why not?
Scientists next have discovered an ancient yet advanced snake. Now, I'm not sure how you can be both, but scientists describe a newly recognized extinct snake species called the, go ahead, Jeff, go ahead, pronounce that one.
Okay.
The
Paradoxophodon richardowini?
Yeah, perfect job.
That must be right. I have no idea.
That snake was discovered in southern England that offers clues to origins of advanced snakes. I didn't know there were advanced snakes.
I didn't either.
The fossil that was returned after decades of study shows morphology that challenges prior ideas about how and when certain snakes' lineages evolved. The odd bit is that the fossil snakes had features that blur the lines between primitive and advanced traits, making it kind of an evolutionary, oddity imagine.
It's supposed to be two words, I think.
Oh, oddity imagine. I got you. It's a mess up. It says, imagine unearthing a snake fossil that forces scientists to rethink the snake family tree. There we go. That's what I do every day. I rethink the snake family tree. Every day.
It keeps me up at nights.
Yeah, I can't sleep. Okay, then apparently unexpected wildlife appearances, meaning animals in the wrong place, is happening more and more often, and I thoroughly agree with that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's not a good thing.
How did they come up with this concept that animals are showing up in the wrong place? But let's read it. A recent field guide style article reveals a rising number of wildlife sightings of animals living outside their expected ranges. Movements of species into unexpected places is often caused by human-induced habitat changes. Well,
Yeah.
climate shifts or accidental transport. It's nature's version of the wrong address. A deer in the desert, a frog far from wetlands, a tropical bird turning up in temperate zones. These mismatches spark questions. Is the animal adapting? Is it lost? Or has it been forced by something bigger? Perfect fodder for a weird wildlife thoughts.
Yeah.
Which is, once again,
We're screwing things up.
whatever. I don't know if that, I think they're just adapting. It's my,
Yeah.
I don't think they care. The scientists always say, oh, I remember them telling me back in the 80s when I used to go to South Dakota to film wild turkeys. And these experts would tell me, oh, they'll never ever leave South Dakota. We'll never have wild turkeys anywhere else because they have to have ponderosa pines. Right.
And apparently not.
As an example. And of course, now they're everywhere.
Right.
They were wrong. It's just the animals adapt.
They'll figure it out. Yeah. They find a way.
I mean,
They're not dumb.
Put it this way, the will for survival far exceeds some environmental barrier, right?
They'll figure it out. They'll adapt, overcome. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And then I'm sure some people have heard of this or seen it, but a transparent skullfish is got some very strange anatomy, and it made the news again. But it has this clear helmet-like head that's completely transparent. You can see its organs, its eyes, its brains, everything you can see in there. See that, Jeff?
Yep, the barrel eye fish. I've read a bit about that thing. That's weird. Yeah. That's actually those green knobs that's its eyes pointing straight up. Its eyes will rotate up, so it can hang at the bottom. Normally, in pitch black, and look above. It's crazy.
I thought it. Oh yeah, right, because it can look right through its skull.
Yep.
Well, you can do that.
Those eyes are pointed up.
Can't you do that? Look through your skull.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Nope. Can't see.
Can't do it. Okay. It says this deep sea has its share of strange creatures, including the Pacific barrel eye fish, and whose skull and facial skin are transparent, allowing the large tubular eyes to rotate within the head, looking upward through the helmet. It says this adaptation is weird and wonderful. Instead of the usual hard, opaque skull, this fish uses transparency and internal eye movements to scan for prey and predators in the dark depths. Yep. So that makes sense. It's completely dark and you can't see anyhow. So then they have more advanced eyes.
Yep, look straight up. Yep.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yep.
Imagine a fish wearing a see-through helmet, peering upward in the abyss. So that one's a weird one for sure.
Yep.
And then we have another new discovery, a weird spider with no eyes at all. Speaking of eyes, found in the remote Atlantic island. On a remote Atlantic island. I don't think I want to meet a spider without eyes.
I don't like spiders.
So, on the island of St. Helena in the Atlantic, researchers uncovered 2 new spider species, one completely eyeless and the other armored with thick plates. This is a classic nature went sideways situation. Isolated island environment produces spiders with loss of eyes, since darkness or sheltered habitat removes the need for them. Well, that's what I was just saying about the fish. Then why did that fish develop really amazing eyes? So it doesn't make sense.
Different environment.
Yeah, well, and it says the other spider had heavy armor, perhaps to fend off predators of harsh conditions. So there we go. That's just what we need, blind arachnids.
Yeah, well, they can sense stuff. I mean, they can sense vibrations. They can operate in the dark. Yeah, they're pretty amazing animals, actually.
Do you have any spiders in your house, Jeff?
Oh, always. They're always floating around.
Yeah. Okay. Are they blind or they?
I didn't ask.
Okay. Anyhow, weird fact of the week.
Weird fact of the week.
It's now time for Untold Radio Weird Fact of the Week. That is kind of weird.
What's your favorite song?
I like that song. It's a good one.
All right. So weird fact of the week is that plants might be eavesdropping on their neighbors, not communicating with them, but spying on them. Okay, well, let's get into this here. So here it is. Back in January of 2025, scientists at Oxford dropped a bombshell about so-called wood wide web, right? We've all heard that the fungus is like the World Wide Web, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're all communicating this beautiful forest environment, and plant A is talking to plant B. Okay, so that idea of plants using underground fungi to warn and help each other, unlike like one big happy forest family. Well, that turns out that might not be true. It might be completely wrong. Instead of sharing helpful messages, plants might actually be eavesdropping on each other. Yep, it's a lot of little spies in the dirt. According to new research, plants don't really send signals. They just listen for chemical clues that their neighbors give off when they're stressed or attacked, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's a lot of screams to filter through.
Yeah.
So when they, especially, you think of the little grass blades all talking to each other when the lawn gets mowed.
Yeah, big network. Yeah, that's
A lot
who
of
knows
screaming.
what's going on down there.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it says here, so instead of peaceful forest support groups, the forest maybe is actually more like a chemical gossip line. Whoever leaks the first hint of trouble, everyone else uses it to their advantage.
It's amazing.
Nature's sneaky folks. So that's the bottom line there. Nature is sneaky. And I can imagine what all those little grass blades are saying when the lawn's getting mowed.
Yeah. They're saying, ouch.
Like, oh God, here they come.
It's the end. I'm getting cut in half.
I don't know. Or there goes George.
You should laugh. It's terrible.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to acknowledge something. A very dear friend of mine who I've went to school with, elementary school, high school. We used to ride motorcycles together, and I got a call from his son, and he's in critical condition tonight. And his name is Bill. And if everybody wants to say a prayer for Bill, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's tough getting to the age where your friends are not doing so well. So anyhow, I'm hoping he pulls through. They say if he pulls through tonight, he might be okay.
Oh, good. Well, let's hope for the best.
There's a little bit of hope. But his son, I was just sad hearing from his son tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have trivia. Now we can do iguana trivia, like the kind of living in Florida. Or we can do Alaska trivia. What do you think we should do? Which one? You guys can pick.
Well, let's, I'll give you okay, everybody chime in what they want to do. I'm going to give you 16 seconds to figure it out.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Audience Trivia. Who wants to play?
The heck with those iguanas.
Yeah, it looks like we're doing Alaska.
See, I predicted that.
Well, it does kind of fit the theme of the show.
Well, of course it does. Well, that's why I predicted it. But yeah, I still want to give you guys a choice. Okay.
Who's going to play?
Who's gonna play? We have some new faces. I do see here.
Let's get somebody new playing tonight.
I see plenty of new people.
Get my note.
I don't care. Whoever wants to do it, it's fine.
All right, somebody step up. Who wants to play?
I might send something. Don't charge. to the winner of this Alaskan trivia.
Okay, we got a couple here. We've got. I'm not sure with the way that it shows. The way that YouTube shows names, and I don't have anybody's name, so I've got Debbie.
Yep, Debbie.
And it's one that just says R.E. Johnson. I'm not sure what that first name is. Is that Russell?
Russell.
Okay. So we got Russell and Debbie.
All right. All right, here we go. What percentage of Alaska is designated as wilderness? Is it 10%, 25%, 52%, or over 60%? 10, 25, 52, or 60? Which one? What percentage of Alaska is designated as wilderness? Oh, we got some helpers here.
All right. Johnson said, Russell. Okay, I'm trying to keep up here. Russell said 80%, which
Debbie
is not
said 60.
And Russell,
80 wasn't an answer.
He wasn't one of the answers.
Okay, Russell.
So we got to give that one to Debbie.
Yes, Debbie. Okay. By the way, I had lasagna for supper. It was delicious.
Ooh.
It was delicious. But then I went, oh my God, you know what I just did? I just ate carbs. And
Yes.
carbs.
Yeah, you did.
They just get me, man, so bad. Like, oh,
Yeah, plenty of carbs in lasagna.
oh really?
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah. All right. What U.S. state is geographically closest to Alaska? Is it Washington, Hawaii, Montana, or Colorado? Washington, Hawaii, Montana, or Colorado? Which one's closer geographically is closest to Alaska? Which U.S. state is
Oh,
geographically?
should I get the music? Should I get the trivia music going?
Oh, we just got to have that.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember what volume we like it at. Right about there.
There, that's just perfect. And I see our Alaskan expert just came in backstage, which is nice.
All right. We got some other people guessing here, looking for Russell and Debbie to chime in.
Which U.S. state is geographically closest to Alaska? Washington, Hawaii, Montana, Colorado.
Okay, Russell said Washington. What did Debbie say? I haven't seen Debbie yet. Both said Washington, and you're both wrong.
All right, we're going to move on. It's Hawaii. Because it's
Hawaii is
island,
closest.
island to island.
Yep.
Hawaii is the closest.
Look at a globe. Yep. If you look at a globe, it's pretty obvious.
Okay. What is the official state sport of Alaska? Is it dog mushing, ice fishing, snow machine racing, or skijoring? Dog mushing, ice fishing, snow machine racing, skijoring? And the answer is what? That music's kind of loud.
You can turn it down. I can turn it down a little bit.
It's like, whoa.
Is that better?
Yeah. So?
Russell said dog mushing and waiting on Debbie to chime in here.
Well, we're going to go on first, so.
Well, let's give a point to, should we
Russell.
give a point to Russell coming in on that one? Sorry,
All right.
Debbie.
All right.
Need quicker internet. So it's
Which
101.
Sorry. Which Alaska town is famous for no sunrise for about 65 days each winter? Which Alaska town is famous for having no sunrise for about 65 days each winter? Is it Nome? Barrow, Alaska? And then it's Cuts? God.
Kotzebue?
Kotzebue? And then Talkeetna.
Nome, Barrow, Kotzebue, or Talkeetna?
Yes. Which Alaska town is famous for having no? I would imagine it's the most northerly town, right?
Oh, well, yeah, you would think. All right.
And I think, let's see here, we got a lot of people chiming in.
Russell said Nome. Where's Debbie? With an answer.
Come on, Debbie. I think Debbie left. That'd be my luck if I was doing trivia.
I think Debbie's just
battery would
behind
go
a little
dead.
bit. Debbie needs
My battery would go
quicker
dead.
internet, or maybe you're not. Maybe she's not watching quite live. Sometimes it'll lag a little bit. You're not watching quite live. Quite,
Yeah, hit the fast forward button.
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
There we go,
Debbie
Debbie.
said Barrow, and Debbie is right.
Yeah, Debbie, you're right.
Russell,
Fast forward,
sorry, you're
fast
not
forward your timeline. Okay.
Number 5.
What is Alaska's largest national park? Is it Denali, Glacier Bay, Wrangell, Gates of the Arctic? So is it Denali, Glacier Bay, Wrangell, Gates of the Arctic?
The suspense.
Yeah, which
Russell
one's
said
the
Denali.
largest national park?
People are saying Denali here. What's Debbie say?
They'll never guess. Have you been to Alaska, Jeff?
I have not, and it's definitely a place that I would love to go. My dad and my brother have been there a bunch hunting, but I've never been there.
Yeah, I know you. I know Joe has been there a ton.
Yeah, my dad's been even more fishing and hunting. Debbie, I think you might have to fast forward. I don't think you're quite live with us.
Yeah, I think not. Okay, so where did Russell answer?
Russell said Denali.
Okay, wrong.
Wrong.
We gotta move on.
Got to move on. Sorry.
And the answer is
Wrangell St. Elias.
yes. It's by the way bigger than Switzerland. Just that national park. It's bigger than
Alaska's
Switzerland.
big. You don't realize. Look at it everybody should own a globe. When you look at a globe, it really puts everything
Yeah.
in
It's
perspective.
true.
It's crazy to see how the size of stuff.
All right. What bizarre phenomena happens in many Alaskan rivers in winter? What bizarre phenomena happens in many Alaskan rivers in winter?
Are you gonna read the options?
Yeah. I think I carved out there for a minute. Oh, no. Oh, it's bad. Water turns neon blue. Is for A. Ice discs spin in circles. And then salmon swim backwards. And the last one is water freezes from the bottom up. What bizarre phenomena happens in Alaska? Water turns neon blue. Ice discs spin in circles. Salmon swims backwards. I don't know about that one. Water freezes from the bottom up.
All right. What do we got here?
William Robinson said the salmon spin backwards.
A few people
Loretta
said
the
that.
Salmon.
The
Sherry,
music is kind of hypnotizing, isn't it?
Ice
Not
discs.
off with that music.
Lee says number B, which is ice discs.
Russell, swim backwards.
So Russell said swim backwards.
Yep. Debbie, I think you need to fast forward. I don't think you were with us live.
Yeah, you can be semi-live. It's just like 5 minutes behind, 2 minutes behind. All right, we gotta
Move on.
Gotta move on.
The
It's still
answer is-
it's. I have one Debbie and two Russ. Is that what you have?
I have the opposite.
What?
I have 2 Debbie, 1 Russell.
Oh my God. Okay, this is impossible.
Yeah, this is tough with everybody going slow.
How can...
It's no contest. Just
I know,
everybody-
but how could me and you have the opposite score count?
I don't know.
How in the world did that happen?
I don't know. Good thing it's not a contest because there's no
It's not a
prizes.
contest. Yeah, there's not a contest. Which animal is responsible for the most injuries to people in Alaska? Is it bears, wolves, moose, or foxes? Bears, wolves, moose, or fox?
I actually knew this one.
Which animal is responsible for the most injuries to people in Alaska? So Debbie, I think Debbie just said moose. And
No, Debbie got caught up. Good.
you're keeping score because I have no idea. I'm
pretty
I'm
sure I'm right.
I think you're wrong, but I always think you're wrong. Just joking.
Well, they both answered right. It is moose. Whoops, there's Debbie.
So it
So
kind of
we'll give a point each. How's that sound? They're both right.
yeah. By the way, you do not want Jeff ever keeping score on
Oh, hush.
trivia. Buttworm's in town, I see.
Hi, buttworm.
Okay. What natural feature in Alaska glows bright green, purple, and pink? Is it bioluminescent bays, the aurora borealis, mineral caves, or frozen waterfalls? What natural feature in Alaska glows bright green, purple, and pink? Bioluminescent bays, the aurora borealis, mineral caves, or frozen waterfalls? It's the last question, by the way. It's the last one I want to do.
Well, they both chimed in at the same time, and they're both right. Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights.
All right, we got to have a tiebreaker.
Okay, tiebreak. We'll call it a tie. Yes, tiebreaker.
All right. This is just, I'm just going to say whoever answers this right is getting the not contest thing.
Not a contest.
No, it's not a contest. Alaska produces over 90% of which U.S. seafood? Is it crab? Is it salmon? Is it halibut? Or is it all of the above? Alaska produces 90% of which U.S. seafood? Crab, salmon, halibut, all of the above. Which one?
Debbie said salmon.
Good salmon fishing. Like in the Kenai River. Woo.
You know, I'm not a huge salmon fan. All of big A.
Because you eat too much pasta. They
Yeah,
they haven't
probably
invented
true.
salmon pasta yet.
No. Well, it looks like they're both wrong. The answer is D, all of the above.
How does that work as a tiebreaker if they're both wrong?
I guess it doesn't.
Well, I'll be damned. All right. This is going to be it now. What is unusual about the town of Whittier, Alaska? Is it A, everybody lives in one building? It has no roads, is B. C, it bans cars. D, it's underground. What is unusual about the town of Whittier, Alaska? Everyone lives in one building, it has no roads, it bans cars, or it's underground. Did we answer the fishing one? I don't
Yeah,
think we
that's-
gave.
it was D, all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah. Man, I need to go eat some more carbs.
And again, they're both wrong.
Okay, good night, everybody. We're signing off.
Okay. The answer is they all live in one building. It's pretty cool. It's the whole town lives in one big giant building. Everything.
Well, then I think that they both, since they both did so bad, they both won the not contest.
Not a contest.
They both won the not a contest.
All right. So email me, please, with your, here's my email right there, Jeff P at UntouldRadioAM.com. So both of you could please email me with your contact information and your mailing address, and we might get not a prize out to you or not, or nothing or something, or it's not a contest. So I don't know what the heck we're going to do. Enough of that. We turn the music off.
Please. Goodbye. All right. Let's go ahead and we have Facebook. See, what time is it? 7:30. We've got Scott.
22.
Should we try to whiz through? I don't know what's going on lately. Time just like it's going by so quick.
Oh, Scott's ready. Should we get Scott coming? Should we get Scott
on?
Yeah,
we can get Scott on.
All right. We got
and then what we're gonna do at the end, we're gonna do at the end after we're done talking to Scott, we're gonna do our weird marketplace picks.
Okay.
All right.
I got a commercial here we want to play. Be right back.
This is the paranormal apocalypse. Whispers in the static, the air is getting thin. Shadows crawl from corners where the strange creatures have always been. The hourglass is bleeding, the scythe begins to bend. 1,000 haunted echoes, they all ask, is this the end? Skulls beneath the ashes, spirits in decay. The reaper wears a mask, he smiles then fades away. The paranormal apocalypse is coming. Where the lost eclipse, the veil is torn. There's no amends, oh God. This is how it ends.
What if our obsession with the end times reveals something extraordinary about human nature? Why did a simple folk song about the year 2525 become a massive hit during the summer of love? What drives ordinary people to abandon everything and follow apocalyptic cult leaders? And why can't we look away when the world seems to be ending? Author Maxim W. Furek has uncovered a hidden pattern, a psychological phenomenon he calls apocalyptic awe, that explains everything from ancient prophecies to modern conspiracy theories, from Hollywood blockbusters to political movements. Get your copy of Paranormal Apocalypse by Maxim W. Furek, available direct from Hangar One Publishing, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. Is this how it ends? Find out in Paranormal Apocalypse.
Well, that one looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes. It's a psychological book on why we love the end times.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
People are obsessed with it. It's because they want to know when they're going to die.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of important.
Kind of important. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to chat, and I see Buttworm has taken over the chat. Or Buttworm's presence has taken over the chat. Oh my God, I love it. Okay. And yes, Tennessee said that those guys are going to get a surprise package. Heck yeah, it's going to be a surprise. Might be a popsicle stick.
It's not a prize.
Not a prize. Not a contest. Anyhow, get Jeff your email addresses, and we'll take care of you with some.
That'd be your mailing address, actually.
Yeah. Anyhow, so Scott, I've known Scott quite a few years. I think Scott is recently retired. But I'm not sure. But he is really an amazing guy with a lot of skills, and he has probably, this dream cabin off grid in Alaska.
Awesome.
And he has had a lot of interesting things happen, obviously, at this cabin. It's kind of like the Snow Grove of Alaska.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it is. Anyhow, so let's go ahead and bring Scott Massey on.
Okay, give me just a second. All right, and welcome, Scott.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah. So, where are you right now? You're not at your cabin, are you?
No. So the cabin really is not accessible through the winter. I mean, it sort of is, but we have literally 10, 12, 22-foot seas to get around the corner, which is Cape Resurrection out of Seward.
Wow.
So going out of that cabin or going out of Seward to get to the cabin is just not really an option through the wintertime. So we sort of pumped the brakes, put the boat home for the winter, and here we are. So
Anyhow, is there a predator about to attack you right now, Scott? I'm just asking for a friend.
my wife. Soka, go away. All right, we're done. All right.
Yeah,
so-
I didn't know. I thought maybe it'll be a super wolf.
No. She just literally drove home from work. So
Anyhow, it's really good to have you on. Okay,
yeah, good to see you.
let's
guys.
start
And
at the
both of you.
beginning. Let's start at the
Yeah.
beginning, Scott. You built this amazing
Hi.
cabin.
Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Hi.
That's my German.
That's a first.
Soka, come and say hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
have her- Hello to everybody.
She's got to talk to you.
First.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway.
we haven't had a kiss yet on the podcast.
There she is. Doesn't matter.
Well, can you
Say hi to
introduce your
Doug.
wife, Scott?
And Jeff.
Nice to meet you.
And
Hi.
probably half a million other people. Anyway. All right. So anyway, so starting at the beginning, and Jeff, I mean, Doug, you were there for the beginning part of this stuff was like,
Yeah.
and I literally was telling Soka about this. Silke. In Germany, like a Porsche is Porshe. It's pronounced Porsche, right? Not Porsche. But anyway, Soka, I had talked to her about my first encounter with you, Doug.
Yeah.
And that encounter was literally, it was the first year out at the cabin. And we had so much, just crazy shit you can't even make up, right? Happened during that first year. And I pulled into a laundromat and I had all these, I don't know if you guys know what game bags are, but we have these silk game bag, cotton game bags, and you butcher moose, butcher caribou, and you put the meat in the bag, right? And the whole point is that you're keeping the insects off the bags. You hang them just outside of your camp because you don't want to bring bears in your camp.
Right.
And I had killed a couple of caribou that year, and I had I dropped off the caribou for processing, and then I had sent Doug a text message, and I'm like, hey, I knew you did this Legend Meat Science thing, and the stuff that we have happening out at our cabin is just unbelievable. We can't, and I'm not a believer at that point. Okay, I'm still not, right? But so anyway, I had talked to him about that, or I had sent him an email about that briefly. And I'm sitting in front of this laundromat. I pulled in front of this laundromat to wash these game bags. And the sign in the front door says, no game bags, because they know they're all blood full. They don't want that stuff in their washing machines. And the reason I was there is because I didn't want that shit in my washing machines either. So, but anyway, I'm sitting there and Doug calls me. And that was the first call. That was early on. That was like 3 months into this whole thing where there was so much crazy stuff happening, and the crazy stuff happened for 2 years, and you can't make the stuff up that happened, and Doug will tell you, I'm a 747 captain. I'm not somebody I fly a $400 million jet, and the stuff that was happening, you can't make it up. And I'm not.
I want you to just picture flying a 747 to begin with. Okay. So the amount of skill and bravery that these guys have, because you weren't just flying them like over the U.S. You're flying them across the Pacific Ocean, across the Atlantic.
We do around the world
all
trips.
place.
Typically, 90% of the trips I take off and I head westbound. And when things look familiar again, I land. Where I take off eastbound. And I think you know the name Brett Sipley. So
No, I don't.
You should know Brent because he is, what's his name? Dr. the guy in North Carolina, South Carolina. He's one of your guys.
Oh,
The doctor. That's what am I thinking of? Anyway,
The name's familiar to me.
are you thinking
the
about
name's
Darby?
familiar. I can't think of who
Are you
it
thinking
is.
about Darby Orcutt?
no.
No.
But Brent Sipley is a good friend of his. And
Okay.
Brent Sipley is a friend of mine, has become a friend of mine. And Brent Sipley is a MD-11 captain. And I was the captain. I flew MD-11 for 12 years. And we just lost a crew in Louisville. MD-11 crew. And I know Brent knows those guys. I knew the captain was one of my first officers for a period of time. But anyway, I'm a 747 captain. I don't need to bring that stuff in. But Brent is, he has become a friend of mine. And I'm sure he couldn't even talk about this stuff, So.
Well,
But
what was the
anyway.
What was the first incident, Scott, that made you go, "What the hell's going on"? What was the first thing that happened?
At the cabin?
Yeah, at the cabin.
Was literally, Doug, it was the first trip out there. It was myself and a friend of mine, Lou, and Lou is not an outdoorsman, and we had been out there for probably, we went out the first day to drop the mooring anchor, and then we wanted to find the back property markers. We couldn't find we found one of the property markers in the back corner. We couldn't find the other one. We knew where the front ones were, and that's really what was important to us, because the front ones were, we knew the cabin was going to sit close to the beach, right? So we didn't care about the back ones really specifically. But so Lou and I had dropped the mooring anchor and gone up to to try to find the back markers, for the property markers. Could not find those. Came down, and at that point we spent the night on the boat. And the next morning we got up and we came ashore, and we had 2 chainsaws with us. And that's when we started, we knew where the cabin was going to sit at that point. And we started blazing a trail up to where the bench was going to be for the cabin. And we had been blazing the trail for about 20 minutes or something like that. And we had to go back to the beach, because that's where I had left the spare blades and the chainsaw oil and gas and all that stuff. So we went down there, and we had been working on the saw for probably 2 minutes. And I don't even know if it was that long, to be honest with you, Doug. And that's when, actually, so we first heard it was a howl, I think, the first time. And Lou said, "What was that?" And I go, "I have no idea." But it was, and I'm an outdoorsman. I grew up in the outdoors. I trap, I hunt, I fish. And I was like, I have no idea what that was. And then maybe 5 minutes, but we're both armed, so we don't really care, right? We just we feel protected. So it maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes later or something, I can't remember. But there was a scream that happened, and then Lou was like, "What was that?" And I go, "Lou, I have no idea. I really didn't." And then 2 minutes later, it happened again. But we're armed, so we don't really feel unprotected, right?
Right.
So after like 15 minutes of, excuse me, pardon me, setting up the saws, getting everything set up, right?
Yep.
Oh, I think, did we lose him?
Feet, right? 4 feet. Walk up to blazing the trail, going up. And so he spins around. And
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
We
We lost everybody?
No, we can hear you, Scott. Keep talking. We can hear you.
Okay. So we hear this huge splash, and I happen to be facing my boat. My boat was on a mooring at that time. My mooring was about 150 feet from shore from where we were at. See, literally, the last flight of a rock that is, it's the size of, and the rock sails into the water 15, 20 feet. I see the last 15, 20 feet of its flight. It lands in the water, and Lou says, "What the hell was that?" And I said, "Lou, it was a big rock." And it's so far off your grid, right? I mean, how can you grow up and be in the outdoors and not? That's the one thing I think that sort of triggered or made me think that maybe this thing, I didn't know shit about it, okay? But anyway, so it's this giant splash, and then we both were a little disturbed by that, but we were both armed, like I said.
So, Scott, when you say a giant splash, can you be more specific? Giant is just
actually, as we're clearing the rest of the trail, Lou came up to me and said, "Hey, did you hear that whistle?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I've heard a whistle." And he goes, "I've heard it twice." And I go, I haven't heard it. But my hearing is so bad from being a helicopter pilot in the Army. And anyway, he heard it twice. And then we went out to the point, which is where I ended up setting up my dock. But so we're sitting at that point, and this becomes a really important part of the story. So we're sitting on that point, and we hear what sounds like a hollow baseball bat, like a, I can't describe it as any other thing but that, but we heard this hollow baseball bat. And it becomes an important part of the story because we would sleep on the boat during the construction of the cabin, and we'd sleep on the boat, and we'd get out there, and it happened so regularly that I would bet people money. I was like, okay, within 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to hear a hollow baseball bat on the top of that hill right there, and then within 5 seconds on that the top of that hill. And it was like nonstop. It was every time that we went out there, every time that we would, drop anchor, and it was like these things are gone. Okay, they're gone. And I got to tell you, I'm still an agnostic at that point. I cannot fucking believe that these things are real until I see one standing in front of me head to toe. And I just haven't had that. But we've had some crazy stuff that sort of falls in between of all that shit, right?
Did you see that message, Jeff, that David sent you?
Yep. I'm downloading it right now.
Oh, okay, good. David Ellis sent one of the calls you recorded. Okay, so you haven't even built the cabin yet. You're having.
But I don't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Try now, Scott. Can you hear us? Scott, testing.
I'll send him a text here.
I can't hear you.
Try to unplug your headphones. Oh, he can't hear me. Oh no. Yeah, this is live from Alaska, everybody. So it's a long ways away from us. Maybe should he reboot, David?
Yeah, I just sent him a text that we can hear you. Maybe reboot.
All right. I'm going to tell him to.
Well, I do have that clip.
Yeah, let's play. Do you want to reboot, Scott? If you can, I just text him too.
He's in a reboot here. I'm going to take you off screen here.
So take him off. We'll get him back. Sorry about that, everybody. The fun. Well, let's wait on that. Let's wait on the scream. We'll just do some marketplace stuff till he comes back.
Sure. All right.
It's now time for Untold Radio's odd, strange, weird, and zany marketplace deals. Please don't let these gems slip away.
Minxie said, Alaska trivia, how many times will Scott drop tonight? We don't know. That's a good question. I'll predict 3.
Yeah.
But it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. All right. So let's just do 1 and we'll get Scott back on.
Okay.
Scott, wave if you can hear us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he can hear us. Well, let's do 1 and then we'll bring Scott back
on.
So bring up the first one here. So can you guys guess what this is? All I know about it is this thing is flexible. It looks like, what, a 3D print maybe?
I don't know.
It's on Marketplace. It's called a Bigfoot Flexi Print. I would imagine it's a 3D printed thing and it moves.
Interesting.
So what's the price? Who wants to guess the price? No, it's not a stapler, Lee. I don't think it is. It could be.
I don't think so.
Oh, boy.
So we got some guesses here. 80.
Not bad. Nobody's gotten it exactly right. Mary, you're the
45.
closest. Mary's always the closest.
Mary's good at this.
It's $30.
30.
Oh, Tennessee just about nailed it right when I said it. Okay. All right. Well, let's bring Scott back on since Scott came back pretty quick here.
Yep. There he is.
There he's Scott.
Yeah, it's great that you guys cut me out for any challenges where I get to win, like a competition about Alaska and stuff like that.
It's not a contest.
It's not a contest, Scott.
This is salted, absolutely salted competition. Period.
I believe it. It's not a contest.
We know you would have won the. We know you would have won the Alaskan trivia. Anyhow, okay. So you haven't even started building your cabin. You've got Bigfoot activity already happening, and obviously you're kind of probably, I'm thinking, feeling like you're not welcome, right?
And that's what you had a group of guys that came out. There's 2 of them were scientists. I think 3 of them actually. And they were convinced that it was a territorial thing. Yeah. And I, in hindsight, I think it truly was. Because of, just like a big fucking rock, like, I'm sorry, apologize. Where's Alex to block me from all that stuff? Anyway, I really, I think that, the big rock throw and in the cabins, or rocks hitting the cabin and stuff like that were completely territorial.
Yeah.
And, something that I think it's like sort of like snow growth. I really do. I think that what you experienced was very similar to what I experienced. And I think that they were probably, I don't want to say one is on a bigger scale than the other. I think they were on probably the same scale,
Well, it was consistent up there, and it's consistent at Snow Grove. It's just consistent. Like they don't like it when you're there.
Yeah, but Doug, it was consistent for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And then the 3rd year was it was like crazy how much it tapered off. And it made me start doubting, I've talked to other people about this. It really made me start doubting about the existence or the possibility or whatever. And I've always been agnostic, but when you have 2 years of like crazy stuff, the first time when I got a hold of you, I was a complete believer at that point because of growing up as a hunter, fisher, trapper, that I'd never had experienced anything like that. And then having experienced something like that and then not being able to explain it. And that I think is the most important part of the whole equation is that somebody like me cannot explain it, and yet I can't explain it, but yet I'm still agnostic because I can't put my finger on this thing until I see one. Like I said, I've told you 100 times, from head to toe, I see something standing there. but we've had something that has happened that
Okay. Well, I want
we
to do this kind of linear. Okay. So the cabin's not built yet. And you guys got to bring
no.
a lot of materials out there. You got to visit it often. How often did you get to go there?
Okay, so I was probably at the cabin every 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most, and each trip would be 5 days, 4 or 5 days at the start, right? At the 1 year start. Are we talking about that right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the 1 year start, and literally, it's probably been about that for the first 3 or 4 years. It's been we go out there. We have 4 or 5, 3 or 4 days. I don't want to say 4 or 5, 3 or 4 days, and then we come home for 4. And at that time, I was flying actively. Right now, I'm out on medical, but we would go out there for 3 or 4 days, come home 4 or 5 days, go back out, and then like last summer, it was we were out there for 5 days a week and home for 3 days a week, or 2 days a week, and but so the first 2 years were like crazy active. The second year was really sort of dulled down, and the third year it ramped up again. That's when the year that I had my brother come out, and he became a caretaker on the property. And the first day of the first trip out there we did on that summer, that was not last summer, which would have been 2025, 2024. So in 2024, we went out there, just him and I, and dropped anchor in the bay and went ashore. And we, the first night at the cabin, we were there, and something hit the cabin, and it was epic. Whatever it was, it moved the cabin. Something hit the back of the cabin, and I knew it was a log. It had to be something big, right? Something. It was not like a hand slap or something like that. It was something that just felt big against the back of the cabin. It hit the back of the cabin. It was a log, and I determined it was a log. We did the next day, but there was probably a 5-foot log, 5 foot long, maybe 6-inch diameter. That was completely rotted, both ends. It was it was not something that you would think that something had broken it off or cut it off or whatever. It was just rotten on both ends. And it hit the back of that fucking cabin. I'm sorry, potty mouth. Sorry, Jeff. Edit me. Alex would do a good
Wish
job.
I could. We're live.
It's all right. We're getting rich. The nickel goes in the jar every time you do it.
I know. I ended up paying you. I think I paid you $75 last time. Anyway, it hit so hard it moved the cabin. I mean,
when you say it moved, okay, Scott, you got to back up. You say it was epic. It hit really hard. This is important. Can you describe like how hard? Like, give us a comparative. What would it be?
You know what? That's really hard, Doug. I really think that's hard. That's difficult, right? So we're both sitting there watching a movie. It's only 9:30 at night, but it's April 15th, the first week of April. So in Alaska, the first week of April, or the second week of April, you actually have darkness, right? So it's dark out, and whatever hit the cabin moved it probably 3 inches towards the beach, right? And, there's knee braces all over this building. This building's not weakly built. It's well built. Everything I did was for earthquakes, right? Because we have that problem up here. We have 100 a day in Alaska, literally. But whatever hit the back of that cabin, my brother jumped off that couch. It was freaked out, ran outside, and I didn't get off the couch because at that point it's so completely almost normal to me. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't want to say it's normal, but it's not a big deal, you know? So anyway, so we had that was the first trip that my brother had been out, and that was 2 years ago. And then we had last summer and the summer that he was here. So my brother became sort of a caretaker out of the cabins. So we have the main cabin, right? And we built 3 guest cabins. We had planned on building 4 guest cabins, but timing and workforce, it just didn't work out for us. I wish it had. And it became like this thing where we could sort of have a side bit of revenue, but it was not for Bigfoot people. We did not want that. We didn't want people out there howling and hooting. We wanted kayakers. We wanted fishermen. We wanted people that wanted to go out there and enjoy life and kids turn over rocks and get, crabs and, little baby eels and stuff like that. This was not about Bigfoot, right? But anyway, my brother had been out there, and we had built these 3 guest cabins. We were trying to get the 4th one done. We never did. And I was in Hong Kong at the time. We mentioned before, I'm a 747 captain. And I was in Hong Kong, and he called me because he was putting the hardware into one of the doors on cabin number 2. And he felt a big hit on the back of the cabin and didn't think much of it. And then a second hit pushed the cabin off the piers. And he crushed ribs. And he called me, panicked. And I'm in fucking Hong Kong. I can't do shit, And now I know I have to get home. But anyway, and I sent you pictures of the cabin.
Yeah,
and it
Jeff.
fell.
I should have sent those.
5 feet. It fell 5 feet at least from that front quarter where he
Jeff,
went
I'm
down.
going to send you this, Jeff.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have done it earlier. I did not. Would you just send them to your text? Is that okay, Jeff? Or do you want email?
Can you do it to either email or Facebook? So it's I need it on the PC.
Okay. I'll do Facebook.
That'll work.
I will send this right now. Done. Sent. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's really crazy. When he mentions it was a little hit, it was pretty big. Well, how did he actually get hurt, Scott? What exactly?
So he was literally, Doug, he was actually putting in new hardware or putting in the hardware for the door, locks and stuff like that for the front door. And he's standing there. He's inside the cabin because the door swings inward, right? Yep. And he just feels this bump. You there?
Yep.
He feels a bump. And then he said he just knows the feeling, and you and I would know it, right? If you felt a building being pushed off, and that's what he felt. Yeah. He said it was shoved off the fucking piers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
Well, I tell people about, I've told people my story where the little cabin that I was in at Selgrove was being lifted off its blocks. And people think, yeah, right. Yeah. No, it was being lifted up in the air off its blocks. Yeah. I could see the floor flexing. Now, there's an example, another independent example of the power of these guys. Look at that. Put the picture up again, Jeff. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is shoved it how far?
It went about 4 feet from uphill to downhill. 4 feet in that direction, right?
Wow. And there's no way it was a mechanical problem or a construction.
No. And it took me 2 weeks to get that thing back on its feet. It literally, you look at the building, it's so solid, right? It's squared up, it's plumbed, But, well, when I say plumb, it's leveled, and all I had to do is get it level, the plumb or the base plumb level, and stand it up. But it was not. It was 2 weeks. It took us 2 weeks to get that thing going in the right direction.
Wow.
And then my brother, so during the construction
He got hurt.
of these
But
cabins,
explain, how did he get hurt, Scott? How did he get hurt?
he cracked ribs on his right side.
But how? From
So-
falling? From
Yes, from the building coming down, and he was inside. Well, you can imagine, right? He went. So he was in that. Okay, if you were to stand behind that building, and that front right is the part that went down, right? He's in the front right part of that building because that's where the front door is. That's where the kitchen is, the dry kitchen. But that's where he was, and when he got shoved, he went down with it. So
super insane. I mean, that's just nuts. And you've
the
had,
first thing, literally, when I thought about this stuff, Doug, that's like one of the first things. I think the only story I've ever heard of is about Snow Oaks cabins. I mean, about the crazy stuff that was happening out there.
yeah,
Is very similar to, and I've never heard of anybody saying that their cabin was knocked off the piers. But I'm telling you, when my brother called me, he was crying. 55-year-old man.
yeah, that's crazy. I'm going to send Jeff another photo. I don't think this didn't come from you, but just hang on. You're going to just freak out when you show you this. You just gotta find it. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna try to find this photo. So we went back to Snow Groves, Scott, 2 years in a row, just the last couple years. And each time we had a lot of activity, crazy activity. But the last time we were up there, the cabin got destroyed on the inside. Now, you haven't had any break-ins yet, right? Where they've gotten into the inside? Scott? Hello.
Looks like we lost him.
Yeah.
Scott, if you can hear us, maybe we got to do another reboot. I'll send him a text here.
Was his camera that misaligned when you did your test?
Not quite. No, not quite.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
So they got a text right now to reboot. Should we do a quick deck breakdown while we're waiting?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Sounds
right.
good. We're really jumping around. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, that's okay. Keeping it interesting.
I'm going to...
All right. And
Okay, now hang on a second, Jeff. Just stand by. I'm sending you another photo.
Okay.
That we'll end up talking about next time. I sent it to your messenger again.
All right. I'll get it ready.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
go ahead and tell us.
Talk about my newest find. So I'm betting some of you have seen this on Facebook. It's a new pocket knife system. It's a modular system. Let me find the picture here. Here it is. The Roxxon, ROXON. I'll put the link up too. Hold on. The link in chat here to the company website. They've been advertising heavily on Facebook and other social media. So I bought one. Actually, I liked it so much I bought 3. And what it is it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. I'm a huge Swiss Army knife nerd, but the difference is you can customize it. You can swap out the blades. Look at another picture here. So it kind of gives you an idea. So the blades will pop out. You can mix, match, customize them wherever you want. Here is just a partial. This is an older picture of some of the utensils. They make there's at least 10 more since this picture that they just can't keep up. They keep coming up with new ideas.
So they're all universal, right?
They're universal with the caveat that some are long, some are short. So some knives have different. I have different sizes here. So I'll show you. There's 2 different sizes here. So I have them both here. The bigger one is called the Flex Companion. The smaller one is called the Flex Companion Mini. And they also have a multi-tool that uses the blades in it too. I got a picture of that here.
Very cool.
Here we go. And that's cool. What's cool about this is again, you could swap out all the the pliers part stays the same, but all the other blades you can swap out. It's kind of neat too that if you can tell, but the cutting blades, there's like wire cutting blades. It's a replaceable blade, so you can replace the blade in there. It's really comfortable. It's just a great gadget, and like I said, I watched a bunch of videos on it, took a risk. I ended up buying 3 of them, and I love them. If you see those ads on Facebook, it's the real deal. Go ahead and order one. I think they're just a great knife. Really huge fan.
Very cool. Make a good Christmas gift.
Yeah.
All right, we have a also a surprise guest who's actually been to Scott's cabin, Alex Petikoff.
All right,
and
it
Alex
looks like Scott's back too,
and also a friend of Scott's. Let's bring these guys back up.
All right, there's Scott, and welcome, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Doug
Scott,
and Jeff and Scott, of course. How's it going, man?
I don't know. Scott, can you hear us? You get no.
Oh, no, we can't hear you, Scott.
I think his mic might be muted.
Yeah,
is your mic muted?
We've had a few technical problems, to say the least.
We're not hearing you at all, Scott. Maybe check your settings if your mic is turned on. Are you plugged in? It's something.
Sometimes it's tricky with the StreamYard thing at the bottom. Maybe it's being weird.
Yeah. Do you go through this too on your podcast, Alex?
Yeah. With StreamYard, it's always you never know what to expect. I remember even when I was doing my show, Sasquatch Out of the Shadows, I was just getting started in the StreamYard, and they're always changing stuff. I haven't used it in a while now, but looks like it's just as problematic as it was. So,
well, Alex is working for Small Town Monsters. You're a director, a camera guy, a producer, an editor. You're just kind of writer. You're self-contained, and Alex is doing amazing work. And I was like excited when I see young guys like you that are, doing this and you're doing it right. I
appreciate that, Doug. And I remember having you on my show years ago, even kind of before some of my work with STM when I was doing my live stream, and you were somebody I looked up to because when I was a kid watching Monster Quest, all that sort of stuff. So it means a lot coming from you. And Area A is kind of the code name for this place that Scott's cabin, and I've been there 3 times now, and I think about it just about every day. I mean, I don't think there's really a day that goes by I don't think about it. It is location alone. Like, let's say you don't believe in Bigfoot at all, just that location is incredible. It's that temperate rainforest that kind of stretches from basically the Pacific Northwest to that part of Alaska. You've got all types of animals on land. I mean, we've seen just about everything there except for brown bear, which we haven't physically seen. I haven't physically seen one there, but black bear, moose sign, actually bear sign, I guess, mountain goats, lynx audio. We've captured some of that, we believe. And then you have that on land, and you've got these giant mountains that just kind of stretch out of the ocean with these temperate rainforests. And then in the ocean, we've seen humpback whales there. We've seen seals, sea lions, sea otters, orcas. I've seen, I've got drone footage of whales breaching. I mean, the place is ridiculous. It's like so untouched by man. And then of course you have all this
a journey to get there. You have to go by boat, and it's quite a boat trip. So you obviously heard all of the stories from Scott. I think Scott's back. Maybe you can pop him in, Jeff. Scott?
There we go.
Can you talk? No, we don't
Nope.
hear you.
No audio.
No audio. Unplug your mic and just use the mic on the
Yeah, maybe that'll work. Just the computer.
computer or whatever you're using. Yeah, can you use your cell phone?
Yeah, we
versus
got
your
no
iPad?
audio.
That'll work. You just hit that link with your cell phone. Oh, we love live.
Yep, always exciting.
Oh gosh, it's such a heartbreaker. I hope he gets it worked out.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, hopefully it'll work on the phone. Usually,
But you heard all these crazy stories. And what was the most memorable story why you wanted to get out there?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the totality. I mean, Scott reached out to me. He's a fellow former New Englander. You know, I'm both from New Hampshire. It's funny, he actually lived a few towns from where I live now when he lived out here. Just the whole story, you know, he had this military background. And, you know, obviously his professional background as a pilot. Like, he has a very respectable, I would say, kind of pursuit in life, right? And when I heard the full story about why they built the cabin, I mean, they were doing this, you know, they wanted a remote cabin. They weren't looking for Bigfoot. Like, that was not at all what crossed their mind. And one of the stories that really stuck out to me that Scott told me in the initial stuff was he was talking to a local boat captain that he had contracted to get some of the building materials out there. He was mentioning the weird stuff going on, and this boat captain from that part of Alaska said, "Oh, that's like Sasquatch stuff." And I remember Scott kind of saying, "Well, I was like, I'm being serious. I'm not joking around." And this guy's like, "No, I'm serious. You know, Les Stroud." And he brings up how he was contracted by Les Stroud's company when he was filming Survivor Man back in the early days of it. You might remember this, Doug. I know you were involved, well, with the Bigfoot side of things, but he had this weird experience in, I think it was season 2 of Survivor Man, where he went out to the Kenai Peninsula of Alaska and was deployed in this area and heard these like gorilla sounds. And I remember hearing that interview on Opie and Anthony when I was in middle school.
Yeah, that was Les's first experience that got him interested in the topic.
Yeah, and what was so interesting was Scott mentioned, you know, that he was talking about this captain, and then I was actually able to go back and watch the episode with Les, and I saw it was the same boat from Scott's pictures, and I was like, that is, you know, the story connected for me, and that was one of the many reasons. But just I got to know Scott for about a year before we went out to the place in I think it was May of 2022 was the first trip, yeah, I guess the rest is history. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Anyhow, Scott, I think we can hear you now.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay, so anything that Alex said about me is bullshit. He's lying, completely lying. No, he's a wonderful man. I really, you know, the best thing I loved about having Alex out there in Small Town Monsters is that nothing was exaggerated. Nothing was made to be something that it wasn't. And I'll tell you what, Alex and the boys had balls of steel to go to places, some of the places they went to that, you know, nobody else had been to. And then, I mean, and little things like just attention to detail, like that handprint on the back of the cabin.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but let's talk about that. Hang on.
And so the big thing about that handprint, let me talk first, Doug, if you don't mind.
Well, tell us how you found the handprint.
I didn't. Doug, Alex did.
Yeah.
But
I was going to the outhouse one day.
And that was like 3 days, right?
It was like our second to last day or something. Like, it was one of the only days we had rain. And it was actually after I heard this mystery gunshot that you kind of hear out there, the audio of which I had David Ellis look at. And he had said that, you know, when you have gunshot noises, if you break them down like spectrogram, and Doug, I'm sure you know this, and Jeff, you see like 2 signatures, right? Because there's the blast and then the after blast, which is what we hear.
The shockwave.
Yeah, our ears make it one. And David looked at this mystery gunshot I heard and said, you know, there was only one signature. There's not
there was no sound barrier broken by the bullet.
But it sounded like a gunshot. I happened to be filming some sea lions, and everyone else was taking a nap. And I remember then, you know, another person there heard sound from their window and said, "Hey, I heard another one while you're getting back in the cabin." But it was like an hour after that. I'm going to the outhouse, and I'm just kind of like strolling behind the cabin, and I kind of just start looking up, and I see this greasy looking handprint near where there's like that water tank, you know, really like kind of weird, awkward position on the back side of the cabin. And I was just like, that's kind of weird. I mean, it was clearly a handprint, right? Like, I can't say it was Bigfoot, but it was It was like it had digits, and you couldn't really see the thumb, but there was the dermatoglyphics or whatever. Beans Baxter was the one who collected that sample eventually. But I said, hey guys, you want to come check out this handprint? I don't know what's up with this. And we just thought it was weird, and we just documented it. That's really all we decided to do.
Can you describe it, guys? The handprint.
Well, let me start
go ahead.
first, Alex. Let me start first, Alex, because the one thing that has been overlooked, I think, by everybody that's looked at that fingerprint or that handprint, including Alex, until I was like, we really need to look at this, is that the dermals on the fingerprints, they go left to right, right? They go straight across the finger. And they're not like us where you have whoops and whirls and stuff like that. It is just it's so different to me. And, Alex had looked at that stuff and submitted it to some ape guy or whatever, or somebody that was looking at prints. But I think that the one thing that was not pointed out was that how different, like a dog has, we know what a bear looks like. Like a bear looks like a dog. It's just a flat, porous handprint. It's not, there's no dermals, right? But these dermals were they straight up and down, Alex, or straight left and right? Something weird.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember. I know what I did afterwards, like months afterwards. Mike Ann, I think you know him as well, Doug. He had a professor in college who did dermatoglyphic stuff, and he was like, you should talk to this guy. And I sent it to him, and he actually was a friend. He knew Grover Krantz. He actually talked about Sasquatch with him at a conference in like the 90s. But this professor, he looked at it and he was like, oh, to be honest, I haven't done dermal work in like 20 years. Here's my colleague. And he passed along a colleague. I don't remember the guy's name. I have it all in my emails from 2022. But he looked at it and he thought, it's primate. That's what he thought. He thought it was human. His opinion was, hard labor out there, you're chopping wood. Maybe someone put their hand up against the cabin, and because when you're doing the hard labor, it's like your hands kind of swell a little bit, and it's maybe exaggerated. So, and then somebody pressed the cabin. That's what he thought, and I was like, I appreciate you giving me your opinion. And then when Beans Baxter, I think it was like a couple weeks after we left, because we didn't have the materials to collect that sample. I don't want to screw it up. We had him do it, and then I believe he sent all of them to you, Doug.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have the. Yep. He did swabs. I think he did 5 swabs and 1 attempt of lifting.
Right, because what's left is this whitish.
Yeah.
Very unlike humans. I don't know. It's some type of a surface skin lipid, I would imagine, but it's thicker, waxier. It's different than a human. We don't leave such crap. And obviously, up there in the rainforest, it wasn't like the white stuff was like dust.
Yeah.
It was the actual sebum.
It was like
what I
grease.
believe. Grease.
And the only way and I remember we replicated it on the front of the cabin by the only way we could replicate it was somebody had hand lotion, and we put our hand on it and rubbed it on the front of the cabin. That's the only way that it really looked similar. No, and that's the thing that was too about the handprint on the back of the cabin was by the time Beans had gotten there, again, this is rainforest, it had already deteriorated a little bit. So it was, in my opinion, it was kind of fresh. And I know we had kind of a running theory that maybe in between people's trips out there, maybe something had happened. So I don't know.
Alex, when we duplicated that stuff on the front of the cabin, using hand lotion, it lasted like an hour. And
you just tell that was like, if we just took our naked hand and did that, it wouldn't produce anything like that,
And what about the size? What about the size, guys? Bigger?
I don't think it was huge.
It wasn't gigantic, but it wasn't.
It was 7.5 inches, maybe.
Yeah, we measured it all. I have it somewhere written down, but I remember what was weird was you couldn't really see the thumb. You could kind of see this,
exactly, and that's what
part of the hand.
When we started talking to David Ellis, he's like, "Hey, was the thumb where you couldn't even see it?" David Ellis was saying this because David Ellis knew something about that, and we're like that. And when you look at these handprints that I think I sent you, Alex, where you have the handprints that that Beans took pictures of with the fingerprints, like the zoomed in with the dermals. And then there's the next picture that is of an ape handprint. And the thumb is so freaking far back that you can hardly see it. It's like way, 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 way back here. And that's sort of what we saw. And we were like, why are we not seeing a thumbprint? And David Ellis, the first thing he said was, "You're not seeing a thumbprint, are you?"
Yeah, that's literally, I remember you texted him on the Garmin, because I'm pretty sure he texted you as well, Doug. And it was like, that's the first thing David said. And what was weird was the position of it was kind of unusual. It was like in this awkward kind of like putting your hand like this at, 5 foot up. I mean, it was just a bizarre position. And
then pull your thumb back like as far as you could.
Yeah.
Literally, your thumb would have to be almost where your knuckle your lower knuckle for your thumb is. That's where the thumbprint would be, that far back. It was really crazy.
I know.
Was there a smack on the cabin?
Oh God,
that preceded this?
I don't think
Doug,
we were there.
Doug, we've had so many hits on that cabin,
Right.
and David Ellis is the one that has literally found all those recordings. And literally, probably I would, if I were to guess, 75%, maybe 80% of the recordings where there's epic hits where you can hear like it's a hand slap on the cabin or a rock thrown at the cabin or something like that. Probably 75, 80% of those are not while we're there. They're like the night we leave or the subsequent night. Mm-hmm. And the subsequent night is really, it's almost like they're trying to provoke us to try to get us come out. And
we thought like maybe they're checking to see if anyone's still there.
Exactly.
Because one of the ones I remember that David had found was, it's like a loud smack sound, and then maybe 10, 15 seconds after that you hear this like
the grunt.
It's like this weird apish noise. It's bizarre. That audio initially is what really also, I should say, really interested me. And Scott was like, when I first started talking to him, he's like, if you don't believe me, talk to this guy. He's a retired biologist. Talk to this guy. And, his buddies that he's taken out there. And, we talked to one of the guys that was helping build the place, Victor, and he was like talking about trips going out there where they're sitting around and all of a sudden they're having rocks fly right next to them. And they're like, dude, where are these rocks coming from? While they're sitting there around the fire. And it's just like for me, it was just like, this is the stuff, right? Immediately thought Snell Grove. I immediately thought that David Ellis has told me about other cases in Washington State where there's like ongoing activity at remote properties. It sounded very similar to, just this kind of behavior you hear.
It's funny because some of the things that have happened that are audio, that we can relate to with audio. David Ellis is like, oh yeah, that's so completely normal. That's like exactly what they hear in the lower 48 and what he hears where he's at. So one of the really crazy sounds that we've heard that you've never heard out there is a ship sound. It sounds like a ship's horn. And I literally, the first time I heard that, I recorded it. And I thought, okay,
Scott, I hate to interrupt you. Can you say that again? You cut out when you were...
Oh, it was a ship's sound, like a ship's horn. Can you hear me?
Okay. Gotcha. Yep.
And really thought that, I was like, why would a ship come into Day Harbor, into where we live? And there was no reason for it. It's no reason for a cruise ship, no reason for anything to come in there. Unless it's huge seas outside, and there wasn't huge seas, but
that would be dangerous for the ship, I imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. And we heard these horns that sounds like a ship's horn. And David Ellis is like, oh yeah, we've recorded that in Oregon or Washington
State.
Kind of a metallic. Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And then the other thing, Doug, is the freaking like a car door slam. We've heard that across the bay. I don't know if you've heard that, Alex, or not. But
we heard the mystery gunshots, right? That was what I heard. The first trip out, we heard mystery gunshot. You remember we went and did like a little excursion on the boat, on a little Zodiac, and then you guys thought we shot a gun, and you actually came to rescue us. And they're picking us up and like, what were you guys shooting at? We're like, nothing, because we're all armed out there. You've got brown bears and moose. None of us, we're all pretty competent. We're not just shooting guns for fun randomly out there. But they had heard something that they thought was a gunshot and thought it was us, and it was not us. And then I heard it later that week. That first trip out, we We heard these crystal clear knocks, and I still have the audio of that. 3, 4 in the morning. We're sitting around the campfire, making jokes. This guy Rob Roy, who's been out there, who's heard a lot there, he was making all kinds of jokes and loud impressions, and then all of a sudden the silence was broken with crisp knock, and then we hear what sounds like rocks being thrown into the water, but you'd hear it hitting stuff along the way, and the shore of the beach is rocky. You'd hear a smack, like rock on rock, and then kerplunk splash. So it wasn't just like a seal splashing in the water. I mean, you'd hear it from the hill. That went on, and then there were more knocks, and we're just sitting there listening. We have audio of all this, and we're scanning with the thermals. And then the night after that, we camped up on the ridge above where we thought we heard this noise from, and we heard these knocks. It was a little bit in between rain and like stomping noises, and it sounded like it would get closer and then back off. And I was at times trying to sneak out of my tent with my thermal to see something, but there's these giant moss like covered ground all around you, so it's very hard to move around in there. Just because of the amount of debris and like the terrain, the rainforest. But we were hearing these knocks and all this stuff. And then the mystery gunshot. And then my second trip out there in 2023, I was out there for 2 weeks, and we heard almost nothing. It was raining the whole time too. It was like, I mean, the rainforest. But
that was the 1 year, Alex, that everything was dead out there. I mean,
that was, yeah. But we found, like, I have 3D scans of footprints and stuff we found, because we really did some. We had a friend of mine, Damon Irons, who had a thermal drone, and we actually technically proved that Sitka black-tailed deer exist in this part of Alaska, because according to the state of Alaska, they don't. But we have thermal footage of them on drone, and we found, like, this is a 3D scan of a footprint that we found back in 2023.
Well, you guys found the deer too on the hill.
So this was interesting. We've again, it's hard to find tracks out there. And then my last trip out there was this past summer. Went out with my friend Brian and Rob Roy, and then Scott, and we were all there. And the first day we heard, this is the weirdest thing I've heard. I don't know, and unfortunately we didn't have it recorded because we were about to fly a drone and the camera was off.
Right.
The rock rubbing. It was like right after we got there, Scott. You remember? It was like it was like we were about to do it was before the rain set in, and me and Brian both heard this. It was like 15, 20 seconds of what sounded like someone taking 2 rocks and going like this rubbing sound. And we're like, I'm looking at Brian, I'm on the staircase, he's down by the fire pit, my camera's right in front of him, and I'm like, dude, go turn the camera on, hit record. By the time he did it, it's over. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we're thinking like, could have been a rock slide? I mean, it sounded like it was around the corner to where that creek is, Scott. Yeah, that's where it sounded like it came from. And then we went and told everybody, and everyone else was in the cabin or doing something. So it was, and that's the only thing we really heard that this last trip. We did have a weird incident in the rain one night where our
was my
lights were going on.
Was my brother out there that year, Alex, or he was out there the year before, right?
Yeah, well, you told me last year's when he was out there.
Yeah, he's the one that he was building that trail going up to where the rental cabins are, where now we have rental cabins, I should say. And he was building this travel or this trail and taking gravel from the beach in the ATV. The ATV has a dump bed on it, and he'd go up and down this hill with these 2 young guys. And at some point he saw something running from left to right, going up the hill. Right. He saw it go through 3 trees, I think he said. And he said it was walking, but he said it was fucking hauling ass. It was going like way faster than a person can walk up that hill. But he said it was clearly walking. And then last summer, my wife and I were out there, and I saw something. We're working on cabin number 2, and I looked up the hill, and I saw something that was jet black, and I can't tell you what it was. Okay, I'm not going to say that it's one thing or another, but whatever it was dropped. It was probably, I saw it from probably waist high, and I was seeing probably 6 or 4 feet above that, 5 feet, but it dropped. It was almost as though somebody took a baseball bat and hit this thing in the knees and knocked the knees out from under it. It fell so fast when I saw it. As soon as I looked at it, it fell so fast that you would have thought that somebody cut this thing in half. Somebody shot it in half. It fell that fast. Weird. And then, so I have my wife up there, my Jack Russell Terrier, and my Jack starts growling, and he's looking up the hill. And my wife says, "There's something up the hill above us." And I said, "Yeah, I know." She goes, "How do you know?" I said, "Because Derby is looking up that hill and growling and making noise." And I said, "How do you know?" And she goes, "I saw something move from left to right that was dark. It wasn't black." She said it was dark, but it went up that hill from left to right, and it was low, moving to the ground, but moving fast. And that's all she could say. And this is a German that doesn't, I mean, there's no bullshit. I mean, come on. If you know any Germans, there's no bullshit. And they can't, I mean, it's left or right, it's right or left, it's black or white. And that's what
very literal people.
Yeah. So all of the sightings have been just glimpses of things. But glimpses are real, that doesn't mean it didn't happen or it wasn't something weird.
No, I agree. 100%.
Wasn't there some door problems? Like you guys were having outhouse doors unlocked and opened and left open, which was kind of humorous.
Yeah. So the outhouse thing, it was like the first 2 years actually. So we started out with I didn't have an outhouse. I had a box that sat on the ground that had a toilet lid I bought at Lowe's, or Home Depot or whatever. It was just a box. And we dug a hole, and that was a temporary outhouse. You couldn't be shy to come out to my cabin if you have to go to the bathroom because that's just the way it is. But we would come back to the cabin, and who would notice this more than anybody because he was out there for a lot of the early trips is Rob Roy.
Yep.
And we'd come out to the cabin, and he would find that toilet 40 feet away from where the hole is. It was like it was chucked 40 feet away. And then another time, the toilet seat itself, which has, obviously the seat that you sit on in the cover, that stuff would be ripped off and thrown 30 feet away. And it was just something weird that was going on with that stuff. And then that happened the whole first year, actually.
Very interesting. Do you have the activity is it still going on, still ongoing, Scott?
Yeah, but not craziness like the first 2 years.
Okay.
And I think that it's a little more subtle. I think that the territorial thing is a little bit subsided, but we're still finding track ways, and we're still having, like I said, my brother and I going out there the first trip, not this past summer, but the summer before, having that epic log thrown against the back of the cabin. We found the log, and 6 feet long, 6 inches in diameter, and completely rotted, not like a cut log or something like that. But I'm not. The one thing that I'm not, or that we are not experiencing right now, is rocks hitting the cabin, because it used to be like you'd shut the door of the cabin, and members of the NAWAC. I had 3 of those guys out there. We shut the lights off the cabin 9:30 at night. It was first week of September, and rocks start hitting the cabin. You can't, and it's just that sort of stuff has not been happening so much.
Are they small rocks, Scott? Or
yes,
rocks. Just small?
Like probably golf ball size.
Like whipped at the cabin really hard.
No, lobbed.
Lobbed. Okay.
Yeah, just lobbed, and but nothing stays on the deck. They always bounce off the deck, and you can hear them skipping across.
Almost like they know what they're going to do. I've experienced that same thing.
Yeah.
How about these guys?
Sometimes they ricochet them, and they'll land right at your feet.
But these are
the netted rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, is that one of the rocks that was thrown?
That is
from the beach, but
okay. So I was on the back of the cabin, right? My buddy Lou was on the front of the cabin. We're closing up. I don't know if you know where the gable end is on a building, but most people probably don't. So the gable end is the triangle shape of the building on the back of a building, right? The triangle where the roof line is. And I was up on a ladder closing up the gable end, with stitching it up with sheathing. And my buddy Lou is on the front, and he's cutting. I'd bark down sizes. He'd cut the size, bring it around to the bottom of the ladder. I'd bring it up the ladder and nail it off. And So we'd been working probably an hour and a half, and at that time I didn't have a dock set up, and I had my mooring, which is the mooring that everybody knows about. That we had that 30-pound rock got thrown 150 feet. But anyway, so he starts walking around towards the back of the dock, or towards the back of the building, and I hear something that sounds like somebody slammed the back door of my boat as hard as I could. I mean, literally slammed it as hard as I could. And Lou comes around and he goes, "Hey, did you shut the back door on the boat?" And I go, "Lou, I pinned the door open because the way my boat sits, right, the way it sits in the water, if you just release the door, the back door, it will open up and it'll latch by itself and hook, because if you're in heavy seas, you don't want that door flying back and forth. So there's a little latch on the back, and we latched the door, we hooked the door to the full open position because I just wanted to air out the boat. And anyway, so we hear this loud, and I literally at that point we had so many alders between us and the shoreline that I couldn't see the ocean. So I came off the ladder. I walked down to the beach thinking I'm going to see another boat, because there's no way I could hear that kind of sound and not think that it had to be another boat, right? So I walked down there and there's not a wake in the water. There's no wave. There's nothing. There's no other boat out there. And I was like, okay. So I went back to the gable end, and I'm up on the ladder again, and Lou's cutting material for me, and maybe 30 minutes goes by and we hear another loud bang. It's just like it's like epic. It's like wham. You can imagine something hitting aluminum incredibly hard. And my boat is
okay, but do you think they're mimicking these sounds, guys?
No, but we do have other sounds that I could tell you about that are mimicked. So anyway, we hear that second epic hit. I didn't come off the stairs at that point. Or off the ladder. I was like, yeah, whatever. So the next day we're heading back to Seward, which is the closest town. And I told Lou, I said, okay, I had promised to take him halibut fishing on the way back. So we went halibut fishing, got our limited halibut. And, so we're running back to Seward. It's like 1 foot seas, like completely calm, whereas normally we buck through some big stuff, but it's completely calm. So I said, Lou, take the helm. I'm going to process the fish, and then we don't have to deal with it when you get back to the dock. So he's running the boat. I go back there, process our limited halibut, and put everything on ice. And then I take my wash down. I start spraying everything down. I'm spraying down my fillet station. And then I was like, okay, I might as well wash the back of the boat. And as I'm starting to wash the back of the boat, I look into the corner as I'm spraying everything down. And that rock that Alex just held up, that one.
Wasn't this exact one, but it's similar to this.
Yeah. There's one of those in the back of the boat. So presumably we heard those two hits. One of them probably bounced off the side of the boat. The other one made it in, because a rock like what he's holding up is sitting in the back corner of my boat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when we pulled up to, when I had my mooring out there before I had my dock, and my skiff would live out there, we'd pull up to the mooring, or to the skiff that's tied off the mooring, 16-foot skiff, and there'd be a half dozen of those rocks sitting inside of the skiff, and it's like it's like target practice. Right?
Wow.
You can't make it up.
Robert calls them the rock squash prefer, jokingly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're everywhere. I actually have 5 or 6 of them over there I dug out. They're all along the beaches there. The fishermen used to use this because I imagine they're using the rocks was cheaper than lead or metal. There's rocks everywhere on the beach. We dug through the moss, and there's giant piles of them buried under the moss.
There's 100.
How many years?
Here, Alex.
100 years. I don't know. Yeah.
Alex, right by the storage shed, there's probably 200.
That's where I dug them out. I was actually giving them as gifts. I sent one to Shane Corson,
Well, explain the netted rocks again, please. Make that
sure.
clear.
Okay. So I thought that they were nets for, so they had a lot of these they call them, what do they call them? It's basically a kill net, right? They anchor them to shore, and they run the net out, and then they put weights on the bottom of the net. And they were doing that inside of the little bay that I live in, or that we have our cabin in. And the whole point of having that rock instead of lead is because lead is expensive, right? You lose a rock, it's a rock. But so anyway, they had all these rocks tied off to the bottoms of nets, and they were killing the crap out of, you know, these salmon out there. Which
I got you. Okay,
maybe
so
they're
it's part
making
of a
them right in
salmon
that
net
spot,
weight.
you know, because there's so many in one spot. Maybe that's where they're manufacturing them, and then just when they abandon the place, or you know, who knows who did it, they just left it there. I mean, it was literally buried under moss. I mean, like you had to dig through, and it's been there for decades at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of audience questions. One, is there a seasonal time up there that the activity is stronger, or where it ceases completely?
Well, I can't say for sure about any of that, because we go out there about the middle of April and we are done there by the first week of October. So beyond that, we have no idea, because the seeds just get too big for us to go out there. I mean, we've looked at it, and there's 22-foot seeds to get around the corner to get to my cabin. Whoa. And my boat's only 31 feet long, and 22-foot seas with 31-foot boat are not fun. You know, I've been in 12-foot seas, and that was not fun.
Yeah.
But that is not going to happen ever again, I promise you. But it was just by chance. It was bad luck that I had to do that. So,
have you guys had anything like left, like gifts? Have you noticed anything, Alex or Scott?
Yes.
I haven't been there long enough, but Scott has had, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, Alex, you know the story. So we had five game cameras up there above the cabin, and I put those up there because we found deer sheds, black-tailed deer, that are not supposed to be there, and I wanted to film the deer. It had nothing to do with this other subject. And then 4 of the cameras were ripped off the trees. The straps were broken, the cases were broken, and then one of the cameras was gone completely. And then we're okay, so where's the camera? And then I had a young guy that was with me that put the cameras out. He's a friend of mine's son, that a fellow pilot for the company I fly for. But anyway, he was like, I want to go find that camera. And I was like, dude, you're not going to find them. They're gone. We looked. So he went up that hill, and right below, because he knew where all these cameras were put in, right below one of those, where camera number 3, we'll call it, was placed, he found an old-timey hammer. Then I still have that hammer today. It's like a 1930s hammer. It's not normal. It's not something we owned, and it was sitting there. So that camera was completely gone, and that hammer was put in place. And then the thing, we had a splitting maul missing that came up missing for 3 months. I bought a new one, and then the other one showed up out of nowhere.
I love that one.
Yeah. Do you remember that one, right?
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that story. And the old rusty chair you used to find, had like rocks on the chair. There was an old chair there too.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that, like, again, I've only been there for like certain periods of time, but my only thing I noticed really was that when it was heavy rain, there was pretty much nothing going on. So, and I imagine nothing.
It makes you wonder too, because I've noticed that even at snow, they won't come around when it's raining.
I think it's just nobody wants to be in that miserable stuff. I mean, the only thing we had happen this last trip, aside from that rock rubbing, we had torrential downpour one night, but it was pretty much torrential downpour almost every night. And we're staying in one of these little cabins, and we had these motion sensor lights going off randomly. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that was like, it was myself, Robert, and Brian, and we would go to the little windows in the cabin with the thermals and look out, and we're looking, and I'm half expecting something to run through the rain, and I'd see it in the light, but it was like one light kept going off, and only one other light was triggered. And I can't say what that was. I mean, it could have been a glitch, but it was the guy who installed them, who was there, was telling us, they're made for larger objects, like not little rodents aren't going to set it off. It's made for something deer sized or bigger, right? Because you're trying to set off for people. That was kind of weird, but we never saw anything. So there's just if you take the whole story, there's just a lot of things going on that kind of paint a fuller picture that kind of fits the pattern of what is reported and what you've heard about for decades, Doug. And
oh yeah, well, I've
about.
experienced it. Jeff, I sent you a couple of pictures on Messenger. Can you throw one of them up? The cabin. I want to. There's a correlation. Okay, do you guys see that? That's the Snow Grove cabin. You see the tree that?
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
There was no damage to the cabin at all. None. Okay. So the cabin, I sent you another picture of the damage on the inside recently. Something broke into the cabin again. Ripped the doors all to hell. Went in there. Remember now, guys, there's not one scratch inside the cabin. No teeth marks, no scratches. Completely destroyed the inside. They then two of the guys stayed there and they, hauled materials in. They put everything back together. That's the cabin on the inside after the last round of damage. They tore cupboards off, all sorts of crap, but didn't scratch.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. And so, okay, so they get the cabin fixed up, and then they come back to just put a new lock on the door, and that's when that tree, then put the tree back up. That's when they find the tree blocking the entrance to Snow Grove. And there was no wind or anything that night, which is absolutely nuts. So,
yep,
that's the kind of feelings that they have in their cabins. They wreck it, they fix it, and then they're still like, no, we still don't want you here. And they push that tree down and block the thing, but did not wreck the outside of the cabin. It was like laid down gently.
And what's crazy to me is that, despite all the stuff that we've had happen out there, that, I come out in the springtime and I expect to see windows broken and stuff like that. And I've never found any of that. I mean, that's just no dents in the steel, no, metal siding or just crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. But what was scary this one time, they did discover that they can break the glass. And so the windows were, the glass on both doors was broken out. Huh. And that's what scared us because we just found out about it and then we had to go there. And
when's the last time you were there?
I don't know, 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago. That'd be a great place for you to go sometime, Alex.
Yeah, I'd love to. That would be obviously, I remember hearing that story back in the day, and I think it's like the early days of YouTube, and there was that clip of your son talking about what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and there was Meldrum, of course, and then that other professor, I don't remember his name.
Kurt.
Kurt. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just interesting, the similarities. Especially when Scott sent me that thing where the cabin got pushed off its foundation. And is it like up on stilts, Scott? Can you explain?
Yeah, it's on piers. So what we did was we dig, the post holes, right? And then we put a closed cell foam, which is stronger than concrete basically for lateral movement. So we put closed cell foam down there, and then knee braces, and then you have your beams, your lateral supports. You have your vertical supports, which are the post, and the lateral supports with the knee braces. But it is rigid. It is. I mean, my big cabin has not moved an inch. There
you go,
Alex. There's my little cabin. That's one of my little ones.
That's kind of that's sort of the foundation, but the big one obviously is a little bit different.
Well, what did you think, Alex, when I'm sure you shared those photos of that big, or that the red cabin that got just pushed off its foundation?
But yeah, I remember he messaged me right after it happened. He's like, I'm on a trip. My brother, he called me freaking out. He wants to leave. And what I thought was interesting was the fact that his brother was there alone for a period of time. He was doing work. And what initially created some of the activity was you guys cutting logs, you're doing work, right? And it's like kind of like what Cliff talks about, the virgin Sasquatch, where you have these areas where, maybe there isn't a lot of people presence. You go to the Olympic National Forest, the parks, they have stuff. There's always people out there. So maybe these things act differently when there's more people around. But out there, there's nobody really there living permanently. So you guys are out there, and then one guy suddenly is there for like a number of weeks doing a bunch of stuff, and they're like, let's see, maybe they want entertainment. Like, let's get a rouse out of this guy and throw some stuff at him and mess with him. Who knows?
It could be a rite of passage for a young one. It could be a teenager. It could be.
You know what? Doug, all the when we had all those small rock throws and everything that occurred, when we still had all those alders between us and the beach, you would see small tracks, like 12, 13-inch tracks inside of the alders before we'd have rock throws. And nothing.
Some of the snow prints, I remember seeing photos of that.
Yeah. And then we would see the big tracks up the hills, up above that bench, Alex. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The bench that goes to the right to the upper fire pit. If you go straight up that hill, that's where we would find the bigger tracks. And then that's also where we would put the string traps. We had string traps going across left to right, going straight up that hill. Yep. All that stuff. So
I remember. I mean, just that's where we heard the upper fire pit. That's where we heard those. I mean, those knocks were so clear, and they sounded like that percussion instrument, the jam block. They sound like that. It's got that snap to it that is just, and then that with the rock throws. So yeah, we've heard stuff there. I mean, just the trips I've been there, obviously, the biggest thing, like I said earlier, was that when it was heavy rain and just rain in general, there wasn't a lot going on. It was the times before the rain or when the rain settled down. That's kind of when we heard stuff. And it's an incredible place. And I think, these things could move 2 bays over and you'd never even know that they're there, right? Because for whatever reason, and I think it's maybe the human interest that they have. That's why they keep going back. I mean, that's why it's maybe sporadic, because it seems like they were aggressive, in my opinion, at first, because they're like, this guy's building a cabin. We need to get him out.
But I think it's something like, I think I've heard Doug say before, it's like we're TV for these things. We're not, this is like, for us to be able to, it's like entertainment. You know what I mean?
It's like, hey, you're talking to a buddy. Hey, let me throw a rock at this guy. Let's see the reaction. Like, and these humans start freaking out.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sitting there at 4 a.m. telling jokes, and all of a sudden that knock broke through the night, and that sent us into like a frenzy. And we've all got thermals and cameras, and we're kind of like dumbfounded, and we start looking around. I bet they were getting a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have some sounds that you can play?
I do. Got a couple of them here.
I got a bunch.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the first one. This is it's called the long distance vocal.
I love that one. It's my favorite. So
that's pretty wild.
That's looped, by the way.
That's 5 loops looped 5
by
times.
David Ellis. He does the 5 loops. Yeah.
David Ellis found that sound, and after another group said that there was no sounds on the recordings, when I was like, I think there's sounds here, and they're like, no. And then David Ellis goes, how can they not have heard this? But that same audio was sent to the leading biologist for the state of Alaska for Alaska timber wolves, and he said, I said, is this a wolf? And he goes, absolutely not. He goes, so where were you at? I said, I'm not saying that. He goes, well, what was that? And I said, I can't tell you what it is because I don't know. But he said, absolutely not a wolf. And you listen to the cadence and the pitch and how the crescendo, right? Just the way a wolf sounds. And typically a wolf it's not just one wolf, but that was not a wolf, and that was absolutely verified by the
I don't believe that was the wolf either.
What I was told too,
and also wait,
I think you're going to say the same story.
So there was a guy here in Alaska that sent that same recording.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
All right, you finish it, Alex, please.
So he sent it to like a primate research facility did gibbons in I think Southern California.
Howler monkeys.
He played it for them, and they thought it sounded like like a gibbon, white gibbon.
The leading biologist said that's a white-cheeked gibbon,
and he was like, "Well, that was recorded in Alaska," and they were kind of like, "Oh." It
That's
didn't really
not
have much to
possible.
say. Yeah.
They said it's not possible.
So,
Well, you guys have heard, Scott, you've heard like baby talk or baby cries.
Yeah.
And some weird, like,
Okay,
almost
so
talking.
I have heard the baby crying one time, and it sounds to me, and I tell people it's the point where an infant starts forming speech, but they can't speak yet. And I've heard it one time, but other people have heard it. I think we've heard it 3 other times, but I've never been part of that, hearing of that sounds or those sounds. But it is only when women are out there. It's almost as though.
Oh no!
You were part of the group, Alex, that figured out. Well, I think Dr. Robert Alley was the one that said when I told him about the sounds that I had kept a journal the first year of the cabin, and I'd written that in about about these baby cries, and I said I had no idea what they were. I really didn't, and I said, Dr. Alley, so I said I heard these sounds. I don't know what they are, and he goes, "Did you have women out there?" I go, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
And it was my wife's best friend's birthday, and it was the one trip I had women out there that first summer. And I had 3 women out there, actually. The one and only trip of that summer. And it sounded, and I didn't record it that first time. I just heard it that first time. And then the second time was a year later, and one of them was berry picking, the other one was whether he's in the outhouse, but they both heard the sound. And when they heard that, they didn't tell each other because they didn't want to freak each other out. And then they told me about it the next day. And I said, well, if you heard it, I recorded it. And that's the recording that you probably have.
That's the creepiest one. Yeah, I like that one a lot. That's probably my favorite of all the audio.
Do you have any more recordings, Jeff?
I do. I've got one more here. This one says it is
baby crying,
gibberish voice, 2 grunts. This was from Alex, I believe. Hold on a second.
Was that mine? Oh.
That's fucking. Yeah.
I think David found those. I don't think.
Okay. Really I misunderstood. Yeah, and again, that was a 5 times loop.
Well, because he started putting out audio based off of David's recommendations too. And then he put out one of those song meter, like wildlife recording ones.
I spent $1,000 on that fucking thing.
Swear jar will be filled tonight.
It's Scott owes me $19.50.
I'm going to send.
He's paid me in salmon. Apparently, he sent me some fresh smoked salmon.
No, I didn't. Not as far as you know. But I sent a little bit.
Anyhow, okay. So, have you guys tried? I got a whole bunch of questions. One, you guys leave, or have you left audio recorders up there on a regular basis? Scott, are you doing that?
I have
anymore.
Yeah,
and you leave them out there for a long time until they go dead, and then you pick them up, or what's the?
Well, I have, but I've stopped because I just don't have time for it. But and I should. I mean, I truly should, because I have the song meter, which I can hold. It holds a terabyte, right? I can literally I can record, which I have, from October and through April of the next year. So
interesting. Have you guys tried gifting anything like food, peanut butter, anything?
Yep. Yeah,
Rob Roy, I think, did.
Rob Roy, Rob Roy, the peanut butter. That was pretty funny.
What's the story?
Well, he put a jar up there, and it was obviously it was taken after about a week, and he felt as though in the bottom of the jar there was leaves, like these wide body leaf, like a huge leaf, like something you would. And he thought that they were using the leaf to sort of scoop out the peanut butter, but anyway, so he had put the lid on the peanut butter jar. It was on a stump that was about 5 or 6 feet high, and The lid was taken off. It was not chewed up. It was not a black bear because a black bear will chew everything and eat everything plastic. No teeth marks. The lid was taken off, and then he did the same thing, and then with a second jar, and both the jars were taken off that stump. And both the jars, we couldn't find them. This was, I think, the following spring, actually. And they were like 50 feet away, laid side by side, no lids on them, no chew marks over the, it was just really a crazy sort of, crazy sort of thing. Hey, Alex, check your email.
Yeah, I'm trying to send it to Jeff right now. That's the baby sound. I can send it to you. You're going to send it to Jeff?
Yeah, please.
I don't have his email. Well, I do have.
Yeah, I'll send it to. I have his email. I'm sending it right.
Yep, I'm watching here
right now.
And that is the one thing. So, but I have to tell you, Doug, the biggest. Okay, so I think the biggest tangible evidence thing that I've seen, out of this cabin would be that handprint with the dermal ridges. I mean, just because they were not a bear print, and just because the lines were straight left and right, they were not like us with whoops and swirls. And
the thing is, Scott, that's so amazing is that a human could touch that sighting all day long, would never leave any mark. It just isn't a human. It can't be.
Well, what's crazy is that how the hell Alex found that thing? I mean, out of nowhere. It's not like I was like, hey, Alex, maybe look at the back of the cabin.
No.
Hey, Alex,
do this. Completely uninitiated. I literally was just, it was like one of the days where we had beautiful weather that first trip out there. And this was just one of the days where it was kind of like overcast. We had heard that gunshot. And I went to the outhouse because you got to walk a little ways to get to the outhouse. And I just, for some reason, Doug, I was thinking about some of the stuff you had told me years ago about sebum and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I took my phone light, or maybe I had a flashlight with me. I don't remember. And I just kind of like looked to the side of the cabin. I'm like, okay.
Oh, at night?
What is that? No, this was in the daytime.
Oh, it wasn't the daytime.
I was just, when you actually point the light, like the flat siding of the cabin, you point it, it kind of helps it pop. And you can see in the video, we filmed the whole thing.
Right.
And you could see like shining the light on it. You could really see it kind of pop. Just, but I was like, okay, what's up with this? And then I called everybody because I'm like, you guys want to look at this? Totally random. Again, I just like a random whim. On a whim, just walking past there, and then we documented it, and we just didn't feel confident enough to collect it because we didn't have the right tools, and Beans had like a law enforcement background. So we were
the first two people that I called, and that was with you there, Alex, was Doug, and then David Ellis. Yep. That was the first two people that I reached out to. I was like, there's something special here, and I think it is.
Yeah, so, I remember that you had the Garmin. You were texting him because that was before the internet, before the Elon thing. What do you call it? Oh gosh, I forget.
Steve asked how far up the handprint was on the cabin.
It was like chest height, maybe around 5 or something feet.
Gotcha, Scott.
5 or something feet, I would say.
Oh, by the way, Loretta asked what kind of peanut butter, what brand of peanut butter
That's a good
was
question.
used. Where's her question?
I think it was generic stuff.
Just generic peanut butter.
I know
they seem to like peanut butter. They just love it. I don't know why.
Well, Rob said it was weird because he had put multiples, and one of them was damaged, and one of them had a leaf, and the other one had you could tell there were little raccoon, or not raccoon, but little critter bite marks because there's porcupines up there. There's no raccoons to my knowledge, but. So one of them was okay. The other one had this big leaf kind of stuck in it. So
yeah.
But anyway.
I got that clip that you sent, Alex, for the audio clip. So this one is
the baby
sounds apparently.
Yep.
It's really creepy.
Wow.
Again,
just
just to clarify, those are all looped because David Ellis does
right. But just so you guys know, okay, so I haven't told anybody this, but I played those sounds at Snellgrove.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, of course I did. And guess what we got?
What?
Talking.
Ah, very
We
interesting.
recorded talking then.
Interesting.
Same
Wow.
night. Yeah. And I obviously...
Is it like a gibberish kind of thing?
No. Well,
Oh.
here, I'll just play it real quick. You can call it gibberish. You can call it whatever you want. It sounds like your brain kind of makes up what you think it might say.
Like
And it talked right into a mic on one of our cameras. And hold on, we heard it live, which was really interesting.
That's awesome.
So just hang on here. Of course, always when you want to do something, you can't find it.
Was this?
I know I can't find the handprint picture.
Was this last summer, Doug?
It's either last summer or the summer before.
Summer before last.
Oh, okay.
So just over a year ago.
All right, Jeff. Can I send you those handprints?
Sure.
All right.
Do you have his email, Scott?
Well, I've got his text message.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, in regards to the baby stuff, I'll just say, because it happened so much with women, that was where it kind of the intrigue. So we tried an experiment one of the years we went out where we brought out Rebecca Spencer of the Olympic Project to try to see if maybe that would entice something. We didn't get anything. That was the year when it was extremely quiet and when it was raining the whole time. So we had nothing going on, but it's worth a try, right? Like, I'd be really curious, if you had a full team of women go out there and, what would happen kind of thing. So makes you wonder.
Where did Scott? Is Scott still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Coming at you.
Okay.
So Jeff, I just sent you those pictures.
Okay.
You're going to see the first picture with the full handprint on the back of the cabin, but the second picture, just look at the dermal ridges. They're left to right. They're just lateral, and then look at the handprint on the third image of the ape, which is a left to right dermal ridge. I mean, when you look at it compared to a human being.
Yeah, give me a minute here. I gotta pull these from my phone here and get them onto the computer.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
So Alex, Andrew just did a super chat question. Alex, why haven't you ever talked to Timber Giant Bigfoot and took time to look at his area?
I don't know. I remember watching his videos like a decade ago, but I don't think he's doing stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's some really compelling stuff.
He was up in Ontario. I remember some kind of controversy with him. I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff in Canada, to be honest. I've done just British Columbia, and I drove to Alaska, and that's about it.
I'd love to talk to him, but I have no contact. Here's that talking at Snellgrove. Let me play it real quick.
Please do.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
All right, so
Hold it on here.
all right, so listen.
So it wasn't like
All right, so listen.
you guys can hear
That's
that?
it?
All right, so listen.
Yeah, that's it.
Holy crap.
That's weird.
Made us turn
All right,
white.
so listen.
Sounds
You guys
kinda
heard that in real time.
real time,
Oh, wow.
All right, so listen.
middle of
Almost like
nowhere.
an EVP. Yeah, it's almost like Ghost.
Well, that's what everybody said because it's like EVP, but I don't even know what an EVP. What is
Maybe mimicking, like something mimicking you talking? I mean,
No, it sounds very Native American, and apparently David did a lot of work, and
right.
it fits with the normal Bigfoot. Some of the stuff. It's just so clear because it was right near a microphone, kind of like the Moorhead stuff. So at some point, I hope to get it to I'm hoping Scott Nelson will take a look at it. It's pretty interesting. Anyhow, all right, back to you guys. There's a recording, Jeff.
I've got
He was
some
sending him the pictures.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got
photos
the
of the
pictures here.
handprints.
I got a picture. Give me a minute here.
Are you planning on going back up there, Alex?
Yeah, I would love to. Obviously, I'm eternally grateful to Scott for not only inviting me up there, but
Yeah.
he's just a fantastic guy in general. Just like I said, I got to know him before we went out there initially, and it's just been a blast every time. Weather aside, because sometimes you get a week straight of rain, and one of the times we were there, I actually got sick out there too, so I was like bedridden for a couple of days, and that was not fun. But it's just like I said, if you don't factor in any of the Sasquatch stuff, that place is still one of the most beautiful places in the world, because you're going to see all the other wildlife that live there. And for me, it's just like, if there's a place for these things to be unmolested, doing their thing, this is just the ideal habitat. And you've got thousands of miles. You can go from there to the area where Les Stroud had his encounter, all the way down to Port Chatham. That's the same coastline where you've got thousands of miles of this bays and inlets that all look the same. I mean, all these areas have reports. I talked to people up there in Alaska, in Fairbanks. I went to like a convention, a Bigfoot convention they did up there, and I was hearing from people who grew up in that area in Kenai Peninsula talking about, oh yeah, stories of the hairy man. It was kind of pretty normal. Like there was a lot. My buddy Chook, he does he's got a YouTube channel. He does hunting and fishing and hunting and guns and stuff. He grew up in Homer. He used to go fish near Port Chatham, and they heard all the stories growing up there about weird stuff. And it's kind of just like a part of the lore there. And my favorite part about Scott's story is that he never went looking for this stuff, right? He was a guy who was just living the Alaskan dream, wanting to build a cabin, and this stuff kind of fell into his lap like that. And that is, I hear that time and time again with some of my favorite witnesses and people I've talked to over the years, that my buddy John Wilk, who was a park ranger and saw one, Scott, other people, my buddy in tent encounter, snowmobiling. That's like, they're not looking for anything, and this just stuff starts happening. But I think Scott's case is unique because it's this property where, these things have millions of acres. Like there's no limit to where they can go in that area. So yeah, that's
here's a picture you sent.
There we go.
One of them.
That's the cleaned up. I think that was Beans's when he.
That's the initial picture right there, right? I don't think that was dusted, Alex.
I think that was I'm not sure if that's the one. I think that's the one Beans did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know that's his picture, but I don't know if that's dusted.
But because when he went, it kind of deteriorated a little bit.
Yeah,
I really don't know if I have the pictures anymore on this computer.
It was like
but
2 or 3 weeks later.
Yeah, you guys went fairly quickly. Yeah, I don't know if I have them. Because this is from 3 years ago.
But Jeff, if you go to the next picture, the one, I think it's finger number 3.
Okay.
That shows you the dermal ridges. I mean,
oh, I remember David telling me about the dog. That's a very strange story.
Right there. So look at those dermal ridges. They go straight across. They're lateral. They're not whirls and swirls like you and I have. I mean, you look at your finger, look at any human being's finger, and they don't.
It's going over the ridges on the siding there. It's like, it's not a straight siding. It's got these bumps, and this handprint was kind of going over. And again, it was that really weird, awkward kind of angle. Like we tried to replicate it, and you couldn't really get. It was just a strange angle to put your hand kind of like this. It's very contortionist like.
Yeah.
That's why we documented. We thought it was weird, and I really hope something will come of the samples there, Doug. And I guess we'll see. I mean, because it's like one of those things that you get excited, and that was like towards the end of our trip there that first time, and it definitely, obviously, we were pretty excited.
Beans did a really good job at documenting.
Yeah. He filmed the whole thing. Like he's bringing his police background to it, and yeah.
Yep. Very, very cool. By the way, happy birthday to Mrs. Petikoff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And Mister, if you listen to my stuff.
Yeah. I think it's these iPhones have a mind of their own with the calendars. Yeah. No, I'll get out of your guys' hair here. I gotta hop off here in a minute anyway. But just wanted to come on and share some of the stories. And,
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Alex.
it's been
Good to see you.
like just to kind of conclude, it's been one of those places that I've traveled all over the place, and I love Bluff Creek, British Columbia, all these different areas that are amazing, right? I love them all. New Hampshire, I'm here up in New Hampshire, Maine, all these locations, but there's something special about Scott's little piece of heaven there that, again, I think about it like every day. Bigfoot or not, there is something captivating out there. And I think that these things are out there. I mean, our experiences kind of say that. Can I prove it 100%? Not really, but hopefully we will at some point. And I hope that it will be, somebody, if it's not me or somebody else that goes out there, gets like something definitive that, obviously we all kind of hope that, but hopefully some of that stuff that we sent you, Doug, could yield something. And if not,
it will,
we'll continue the search, so to speak. So
thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey,
and,
Alex, happy birthday, new shig, buddy, and
Yes.
and send my best, okay?
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon, Scott.
All right, take care, buddy.
All right, guys. See you, Doug and Jeff. Thanks again.
See ya.
Tschüss. Schöne Nacht.
Okay, and what was the name of the doc that they did? It was Small Town Monsters. What was the name of the title, if anybody wants to watch it?
Oh, that was Alaska Coastal Sasquatch.
Okay, so if you want to see the area and Scott's cabin, you can watch that.
And they
Well-done
did
doc.
such a good job. They really did a nice job, Doug. I think if you haven't seen it, you'd be pretty impressed.
I have seen it. Yeah, I did
yeah.
see it. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Well, with that, I think we're going to do our. What do you want to do, Jeff? Should we do some? Whoop! No, Jeff is locked up. What in the world? It's got to be these solar flares that we're having. Jeff, he's like never locked up. Even now, no, your screen is black, but that's okay.
I see you, buddy.
Do you think that you're going to continue to kind of, do more recorders, trail cams, things like that? Are you just kind of at peace with the whole thing?
I sort of
let it be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sort of at peace right now, and I mean, I'd love to know more, but I feel like I can't get more. I really don't. I'd love to be able to find more, but anyway. There's more to the story, but that's the backstory that you and I'll talk about in, offline. So, but yeah.
Sounds good. And I don't know what happened to Jeff. We got to wait for Jeff to come back.
He's probably back in the shower.
You think he's taking a shower? Actually, I think he's spending the swear money.
He might be. He might be. But when I talked to him earlier, I was like, "Hey," he was like, "Yeah, I'm just coming out of the shower." I go, "Okay, so we're not doing this naked, right? We're not going to be." And he didn't respond really. He didn't say yes or no.
Oh.
So I wasn't sure whether to show up naked or not. But I decided to be dressed.
Jeff
that was
took
probably
a pizza break. Yeah, that could be. I'm surprised even Jeff's up and around. He had major surgery this last week.
Oh, did he really?
Wow. Here he comes. He's back. Jeff.
Weird. I had to it just flashed the blue screen of death and shut off. I mean,
did you hear us talking? Did you hear us talking badly about you?
No,
he said something about you taking a shower online on the podcast.
I told Doug that you were going to show up naked. So anyway,
no,
after the shower,
I was not planning on that.
But I said if you weren't, I was going to.
Naked and a swear jar, apparently. Combo jar.
Hold on 1 second. There we go. Just to be sure.
On the disclaimer?
Yeah.
That's pretty horrible. I mean, I can do the same thing for you, Jeff.
We got disclaimed twice.
Yeah. Extra disclamation.
Okay.
Roger said he took a nap. Now he's back, and he's like, "You guys are still here?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
right.
We are still here." Let's do some clips, Jeff. Hang out, Scott.
Okay. Well, I got to get
Yes, sir.
I got to get myself all set up here. That was a hard crash.
Oh, you had a hard crash.
You know,
I'm all screwed up here.
I wish I had thought about or had the presence of mind to send you more of the audio in advance, Jeff, because I have so much from David Ellis that he's captured out of the cabin. I mean, we just send him terabytes of stuff, and he just figures it out. I mean, he looks at he's using a spectrograph. He's just reading the audio and figuring it out, and not listening to every minute, of course.
Are you planning on at least doing some audio recording?
I have to. You know what, Doug? I have to do something. You know what I mean? I have to not be so lazy, but we've got a lot of work to do this summer.
And you have no power there. You have probably a generator, but there's no power.
I got solar. Yeah, I've got plenty of power, actually.
Well, yeah, but you have power for lights, but not really power to run like TVs and internet, or do you?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I do.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's off grid, but it's.
I wonder if we could do some cameras like away from the cabin, back in the woods, live. Like a live feed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's possible if you have enough power.
Well, the thing is that the off grid cameras that we the trail cameras that we've used before have been ripped off trees and broken. So you have to. You have to sort of figure out how you're going to do this and what's going to work and what's not going to work, so.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, straps broken off the cameras, camera case is broken. These are not in no chew marks like a bear does. And you know what a bear does. You've been around black bears enough.
Plastic,
yeah. Anything plastic, right? Plastic, anything that's, petroleum based, a bear will chew the crap out of it,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't have to pay that dollar for that swear jar on that one.
Oh yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Anyway, so yeah, we, like I told you about the 5 cameras that we put up, and 4 of them were ripped off the trees, and then number 5 was gone altogether, and then in place of number 5 was that hammer, the old-timey hammer. But
I learned a new word, Scott. Old-timey.
Like 1920, 1930.
Old-timey.
It's like but what, you don't know that word? Come on. You're a pretty smart guy.
Old-timey.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a great word.
You haven't been to a hardware store and gotten the old-timey candy?
I restore antiques. I've just never heard that term, old-timey.
Yeah. Anyway, but the hammer was like not a normal claw, like it wasn't like arched like a normal claw, pretty a little more straight, and the hammer or the handle was like a hickory hammer handle that was like old-timey. I mean, you look at the shape of it, it's just not like a normal hammer. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Joshua says that I lived here 20 years ago when Monster Quest came out on TV, but I thought that was science fiction at the time. Yeah.
Huh. It's fine. It's fact.
Yeah, a lot of people do, unless you've had some experiences. I was at a guy's house. I've already told this story, but I was at a guy's house to buy an old rusty motorcycle. And I got there. I was there 2 minutes, and a tree gets pushed down. Right in the forest, right next to us. And I go, does that happen often? He goes, only when I walk back by the barn.
Yep.
We go, do you have Bigfoots on your property? He goes, I don't know. Do I? Well, what else happens? He goes, well, last night the barbecue grill got thrown off the porch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He goes, and I found a excrement that was like 3 feet long and like the thickness of a coffee can. And
wow.
I go, yeah. And he goes, could Bigfoot explain that deer carcass that something laid in my driveway the other day? And I'm like, yeah. It was just interesting because he had no
Wow.
clue, right? He knew something weird was going on for, like, how long have you lived here with this activity? 31 years.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, no big deal. Nothing to see
People
there, right?
will put up with a lot of stuff and explain it away, right? They'll just explain it and explain it away. But when I'm there 5 minutes, 2 minutes in a tree, a giant tree gets pushed down where there's no wind. I mean, it was massive. The ground shook.
Yeah,
And the
but
guy
you know
goes,
what? You know what, Doug? I mean, you and Jeff, both, right? Before you really thought about this, and you'd be out there and having shit happen that you would just go, yeah, it's not. I mean, you probably would discount it, right? I mean, for being anything other than just a weird sound of the woods. And I mean, seriously, if you hadn't looked into it, you'd just think,
Yeah.
okay. And it makes me wonder, like, with all the stuff that happens out at my cabin, all this, I grew up hunting, fishing, trapping, and the sounds that I've heard that maybe happened to the woods that I just discounted and didn't even think about again because it's, you just don't think that it could be a possibility,
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some strange stuff that I just, didn't think about it, didn't dwell on. I just thought, oh, that was weird.
And Doug,
move
you
on.
too, I'm sure, right? Before Monster Quest, before this stuff really came on your radar, you probably were out in the woods and heard something just
oh,
like
sure.
a huge,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
and you couldn't explain it. And then here you are that now you think you can explain it because you can look back and in, hindsight's 2020, of course, but to have some of the epic things that I've had, I mean, now in hindsight, the epic things that I've had happen that you would think that just would be a normal sound otherwise. I mean, so here's a story for you. This past summer, so we have new neighbors that are building across the bay from us. And it would be the third cabin in our little bay, and really wonderful family. And before they started building, and they ended up staying with us for basically the majority of the summer while they were building. But it's a husband and wife, and they have 3 boys that are older boys that are capable and they can build. And one of the youngest boy had gone to Cal Poly and finished up his degree there and was up for the summer and was going to be off until October. But anyway, so he knew about our cabin and what was going on up there. And so my wife and his wife went up to the upper fire pit, which you're probably familiar with if you saw the old videos. And I was standing there with him and his son on the bench right above our cabin. And we're standing there, and there's not a freaking breath of wind. And all of a sudden, this epic tree, it comes down off the side of the mountain. And it is absolutely epic. But anyway, so we went up there, my wife and I, the next day, because the son is like, that's one of them. That's one of them doing that. And I have no idea what it was, but we went up there the next day to find that log, and we found it, and it was 50, 100 feet from a cliff, but it had been thrown off of the top of the mountain.
Wow.
And-
So it slid down the mountain, this log.
No, it was thrown away from the cliff. This cliff is probably 300 feet, and
Wow.
Alex knows exactly where this cliff is. I wish I had been talking to her, or wish she was still on with us, but it had been thrown, and it was not like, and I looked at that. That's the first thing I looked at, Jeff. I thought, okay, it came down the mountain and maybe catapulted, hit, and bounced out. There was nothing like that. And it was just probably 100 feet, 50 feet from the base of the cliff and laid down. And it was probably 12 or 14 inches in diameter, probably 20 feet long. And only half of it was there, like 20 feet of it, the base of it, there was no top. So
Crazy.
but
How many times have you seen logs or wood or something, moving and off in a mountain or in the distance?
never, other than that. I mean, we didn't see that. We didn't visually see that. And then that log that hit the back of my cabin when my brother and I were there. We didn't see it. The cabin moved, but we found the log the next day. But yeah, and we found other logs that were stuffed into trees and stuff like that up by the upper fire pit. Just weird, peculiar stuff, not like just weird stuff. You can't. I mean, just weird stuff.
How often has your sleep been disturbed while you're trying to just go to sleep up there?
Typically, I sleep out there better than anywhere in the world. I mean, literally. I mean, even if I fly a jet, land in Hong Kong after, being up for 24 hours, I just sleep better at my cabin than any place. So I think because I sleep so well, I sleep so soundly, I miss a lot of things. But
oh, okay. But have you ever been awoken while you were sleeping?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How many times has that happened?
In the last, since we started building the cabin, probably a dozen times at least, where you just hear something hit the side of the cabin, or hear something hit the roof, or rocks hitting the deck or the top of the roof or whatever. And it just, but typically, when that stuff happens, I don't wake up to the sound. I wake up because of the sound, but I don't hear the sound until there's like a subsequent sound. You know what I mean? The first sound wakes you up, and then the subsequent sound is what you hear. And that's not all the time. You know what I mean? It's, I might have 20 times where a sound has woken me up, or 30 times. But if there's not a subsequent sound, I don't, I wake up because I heard something, but I don't know exactly what that sound was, and then unless there's another sound that happens, like another rock getting thrown or whatever, I don't really, I just go back to sleep. So
what do you think these things are, Scott? I mean, what's been your conclusion? Do you think they're just
what
flesh
they are.
And blood creatures, or
they're what they are.
else?
They're what they are. It's okay. Like if somebody asked me what a deer is what a deer is. Bear is what a bear is. And I think that's if these things are 100% real, I think I don't believe that it's some weird, I think it's real. I think it's flesh and blood, and I don't think anything more than that. And outside of that, I mean, if it's an animal, it's an animal. And I'm not willing to go outside of that and describe it and try to, like everybody says, you don't want to try to explain the explainable with something that's unexplainable, again, with another, like this bullshit that,
another quarter richer.
Yeah, I know. 75 cents. I'll give you 75 for that
That's
one.
Right,
Kathy.
Inflation. I forgot. Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't. I can't buy that. It's something that's not, flesh and blood. I just can't. Yeah. I can't believe that it comes out of orbs and stuff like that. And just based on what we saw last summer, and I'm not saying that what we saw was something other than it could have been a bear. I don't think it was. What my wife said it was dark colored, not black, dark colored. And what I saw, and I'm telling you, Doug, if you could have seen, it's like somebody took an axe and just cut the knees out from under this thing, how quickly it fell, and how quickly it went from upright to gone below this hump that goes up to the upper fire pit. And stuff like that. I mean, so if it was this thing that's not real and lives in portals and all this bullshit, why doesn't this just show up in a grocery store and pick up steaks and vegetables?
Yeah. Why are they only appearing when there's woods, water, hills, and they would appear, I would think, in other areas, but they always show up in the correct environment.
Yeah, I know. So I have no idea. I can't guess to this stuff, and I don't want to discount anybody that wants to think like that. If you want to think like that, that's fine. But that's just I can't. I'm not willing to sign your manifesto. I'm sorry. So that's just where I'm at. So
have you seen eye glow? Have you ever seen any glowing in the forest where you think might be eye glow?
No, I've never seen anything. I've seen an orb, a white orb that was going up the trail above the cabin, which I saw with a thermal, but I didn't see with my naked eye. And when I was, I don't know if you know much about my military career, but I started out jumping out of airplanes. I was an Arctic Light Infantry paratrooper, and then I became one of my assignments was the 101st Airborne, 101st down at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I became really good friends with this guy that was a huge bow hunter from Michigan, and he and I bow hunted together, and it was like a year and a half of bow hunting. I mean, becoming friends with him, bow hunting 2 seasons probably. And he's like, yeah, they tried to put me in jail in Michigan. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, I was bow hunting with a friend of mine. I was 17 years old. And he said, my friend was coming over the hill towards me. And actually his friend was behind a hill, something like that. He's on a trail and he's looking up this trail and there's an orb coming straight at him. And he's a bow hunter. He draws back his bow because he has no idea what this is. And he sends his arrow. And then he hears his buddy screaming. And he freaking killed his buddy. Now, I'm telling you right now, this is the story that was told to me. I never hunted with him again because it scared the hell out of me. But he literally said he sent an arrow through his buddy's chest and he didn't see his buddy. His buddy was over a hill, but he saw this orb and he shot at the orb. His arrow sailed over the hill and into his buddy's chest, which is like, I mean, it's craziness, right? Who knows?
Horrible.
But I know I saw something on the thermal and it was not big. It was like probably maybe baseball size, just going up the hill. And I lowered the night vision or the thermals, and I never saw it again. When I put them back up, it was gone. So, just weird stuff.
Can you talk about any weird things you've seen in the sky while flying?
I could send you videos now because I'm not flying anymore.
So, you're not worried about losing your wings?
Nope. I am out on medical right now for at least. Yeah, I'm out for a little bit.
Okay.
But we've had.
Well, can you just tell us what kind of weird things you've seen while you're flying over the ocean?
Okay, so I'm going to start out with the first thing I saw. The first thing I saw, I was in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I was deployed with the Army. I was sitting on top of a roof that I had built a set of stairs for our guys to go up there and suntan and hang out and stuff like that. I was medevac pilot, helicopter pilot at the time. And my buddy and I were sitting up there on the roof, nighttime, looking at the sky. I'm looking at the sky. He's got his eye closed. I had no idea. And I look at something that going across the sky, and it makes a 90-degree right-hand turn, left-hand turn, whatever it was, and it's traveling way faster than a satellite, but way slower than a falling star. It makes 2 90-degree right-hand turns. And I'm like, Matt, did you see that? He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him what I saw. And he goes, what are you smoking, dope? He literally said that. And I'm like, but he was laying in the shade lounge next to me, but his eyes were closed. So now his eyes are open. I'm like telling him about this thing, and it comes from the opposite direction, does the same thing. Now, the big thing I saw was, so when we first opened up the Anchorage domicile, I was an MD-11 pilot. I was a first officer at the time. And we had a trip that you would fly, you would operate to Hong Kong, and you would spend like 7 days, 10 days in Hong Kong. And every night you would go to the Clark in the Philippines, Clark Air Force Base, and then back. And it was a great thing because I was a new guy on the MD-11. The captain I was flying with was a new guy on the MD-11. So you both got a landing, right? You both got a leg with the airplane. You're really learning how to fly the airplane, even though you're qualified in the airplane. So anyway, we are going into Clark. It's probably day 3 or 4 of this iterations. And it's a non-radar environment, which is absolute bullshit, but it's because the Filipinos stole the radar. And anyway, so you enter the holding, a right-hand turn. You have to do a 1 minute outbound, 1 minute inbound is the way that a holding works, right? Typically, it's right-hand turns in the U.S., left-hand turns. It doesn't matter, right? But it's right-hand turns. We enter the holding, and I'm in the ATC. The captain's flying. He makes the right-hand turn. So he's on the airplane's flying, right? The airplane's autopilot's engaged. And the airplane enters that first right-hand turn into that holding, and something goes over us, Doug. I'm telling you right now, it was 3 white lights. I absolutely know it's 3 white lights. and it went so freaking close to us. The captain threw his body on the center pedestal next to us. So you think about it, he's on the high side of the airplane, right? He throws his body down onto the pedestal because he thinks we're going to hit this thing. And it was so freaking close. I'm on the radio screaming with air traffic control, but it's a non-radar environment. They're like, oh, no other reported traffic, yada, yada. We landed in the Philippines, and we're at, like, when we had this incident, it was like 22,000 feet. There's no birds up there. There's nothing, right? There's no civilian airplanes at 22,000 feet. You have to have a pressurized airplane. But air traffic control said no reported traffic, nothing. We landed, and we were so convinced that we had to have hit this thing because it was like, I mean, it was right there. It was so freaking close. We did a post-flight, which we never do. We don't walk around that airplane after the landing. We did a post-flight, and we thought for sure that the airplane would be damaged, but we never saw anything. And air traffic control said they never saw anything. So
how big would you estimate these lights?
30 feet apart. 3 white lights, 30 feet apart.
How big would each light be?
Triangle.
6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet?
No, I don't even think that. Maybe 2 or 3 feet, right?
Okay,
but 30 feet apart, like a triangle shape. But it was absolutely so fast, Doug, that so we had that, you've entered that first of the hold, right? The first turn of the holding pattern. And you come around on the second turn, and we are both like, okay, we're going to see this thing right now. Because we're in and out of the clouds. We're in a stratus layer. Probably, like I said, 20, 23,000, not 20, whatever, depending on the direction of flight. And we never saw anything again. But now since then, over the last 3 years, our guys have been seeing something, and I'll send you the video, and I don't care if you share it or not, but we're seeing stuff. And the first time I saw it, my first officer was like, hey, have you heard about these lights that people are seeing over this waypoint over the Pacific on the way back from Asia to Anchorage? And I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he goes, yeah, all the guys are talking about this at the ready room and yada, yada. And anyway, so he is in the right seat. It's he and I coming out of Japan. So it's only a 2-man crew. Normally, anything more than 8 hours, you have a 3-man crew, but now it's less than 8 hours of Japan flight in short flight, right? 7.5 hours, 7 hours. And so we're sitting there. He goes, hey, do you mind if we go dark on the airplane so we can watch for these things? And I go, yeah, absolutely. So we darken up the airplane. And we've been flying for like 40 minutes because he thought it was by this one waypoint where these guys were seeing these lights. So we didn't see anything. And he goes, hey, do you mind if I close my eyes for a minute? And I go, yeah, I don't care. I want you to, I'd rather have a first officer that's rested than a guy that's, dragging his heels coming back into Anchorage. So I go, yeah, close your eyes for 10 minutes, whatever you want to do, right? And he shuts his eyes. And it wasn't 2 minutes. I swear to God, 2 minutes. And I'm looking and I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm sitting there in a dark cockpit. His eyes are closed. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then he woke up like 5 minutes later, and we watched it for another 40 minutes. And he had the best description I could have ever had somebody tell me about it. It was like we were watching a dogfight in outer space. And I'll send you the video because that wasn't the trip that I videoed it, but it was subsequent trips, 2 trips that I videoed these things. And I had a clamp that I put on the dash with my iPhone, and we're in no turbulence. It's a smooth flight, level flight, 35,000 feet. And these things are, I'm telling you, Doug, they're chasing each other. It's like craziness. So anyway, but I'll send you that stuff after we hang up. And
that's crazy. Did you ever report anything?
No, why would you do that? No, why would you do that?
Exactly. But I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Anything else in your long career of flying that you've seen that were like, what in the world was that?
Well, I've seen those lights several times now, like probably 4 or 5 times,
Is it more in the last like 10 years, or was it
4 years, 3 years, 4 years? Yeah.
So it's recent
yes.
stuff.
Okay. And guys, a lot of guys I fly with, they're like, we think that it could be us, right? U.S. government.
Sure. course.
having something.
Some weird
We
time.
we have no idea. But
Do most of your fellow pilots believe in weird craft that, defies explanation?
okay. So getting back to your first question, what are you willing to say without worried about losing your wings? So nobody is saying anything other than it's just really strange, right? I mean,
Right.
there's just weird stuff out there. So, but who knows? I don't know. I'm not willing to guess what it is, but whatever it is just strange.
It's strange. What about that? I'm sure you heard about that Japanese flight where they saw this huge craft.
Over Denali.
Yeah. What's on that?
Yeah, and that was that was Japan Airlines.
Yep.
And the captain reported it when he got back to Japan. And you know what happened to him, right?
Wasn't good.
Didn't fly again.
No. That's sad.
He's done flying.
That's really.
Yeah.
Why do you think the cover up though with the airlines and with the FAA? Why the cover up? Are they trying to make people feel safer in the skies? Like we have total control over everything on air traffic control?
I don't know that there's a cover up, Doug, to be honest with you. I really don't. I mean, I think more and more stuff is coming out right now, but I can't say for sure that there was ever a cover up, or I think maybe stuff was sort of depressed a little bit. You know what I mean? Like suppressed.
They just didn't want to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just too much to explain, right? But who knows? But I'll tell you what, the craziest thing I saw though was over the Philippines. Going to Clark. So in those three lights, yeah, I mean, because I'm telling you right now that if we both swore that we had to have hit that thing.
And then what is it? Last question. What is it like to fly an airplane that large? What in the world is that really like?
Well, the MD-11 is a big airplane. That's what I used to fly. It's the one that we just crashed, right? And Brent Stipley can talk to you about that. He's on that airplane still. He's Louisville based, actually. I flew that airplane for 12 years, and that's a max takeoff weight on the MD-11. I'm a numbers guy, can't help it. 631,500 pounds.
Gosh.
And
Wow.
But that's Bush League compared to the 747, which I fly right now. The 747-8 is 875,500.
It's a big bird.
Yeah, it's a heavy girl. Yeah.
What is that like though? I mean, do you feel like do you ever get over the amount of responsibility that
I digress. 987,500 because UPS my company wants to make it over 1 million pounds on the takeoff weight. So you know what, about the crash in Louisville, and those guys did not have a chance. I mean, they lost, that engine came off that wing. But every takeoff that I've ever done as a captain, right? I set takeoff thrust. I don't care if it's the first officer flying or I am. And I go through the mental gymnastics of, if we can an engine, this is how we do it. You know what I mean? And those guys that had that problem in Louisville, they did everything that we were trained to do. They did nothing wrong, So there's a checklist. It's called engine fire failure or loss or separation. So in other words, you have an engine fire, engine failure, or the separation of the airplane, or the engine coming off the airplane. And they had an engine separation, but they had it on the ground, but they had it below decision speed. So decision speed it's called V1. And once you get to decision speed, you go no matter what. You're on fire or whatever. And what we're trained to do is, like, even if you're on fire, it doesn't matter. That engine's still producing thrust, right? Even if you're on fire, that engine. But when the engine comes off on the runway and then you hit decision speed and you're committed to go because that's what we're trained to do, then those guys just didn't have a chance. And and the captain was one of my first officers.
Wow. It's a sad situation.
Yeah. Anyway, so taking off one of those big airplanes. It's a heavy girl, and I've literally probably 70% of the chance or times I take off out of Asia, 987,500 pound max takeoff weight, and I'm sitting at the end of the runway in Hong Kong or in Shanghai or in Guangzhou, China, and I'm holding the brakes and pushing power up to burn off that extra 200 pounds or 300 pounds to make it legal for me to take off. Yeah, 987,500 pounds. So, yep. But it's a heavy girl.
Can't even fathom.
You don't fly that airplane. You heard it. You know what I mean? It's just you just don't.
Well put.
Yeah, and you'll see the end of the runway every time. I mean, I don't care if it's 12,000 feet. So, but yeah.
Well, thank you for all your military service too, Scott.
Well, thank you.
All of because what you did, flying all those years, still, society can't function without what you did. Getting
Here's my girl.
Getting our gear and all of the things we order and get sent to us. You guys are the brave men that make that stuff flow.
That's a cool picture, Jeff. I'm sure you put that up.
Yeah, I just found it. Yeah, 747-8. That's the biggest plane that Boeing's has. It's a big airplane.
Can't even fathom it.
Yeah, she's a big girl.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you, Scott, so much.
Hang
on one second. We're going to just play a little wisdom, and then we're going to come right back and then wind up. So stay put.
A little wisdom for you. Be right back.
It's now time for Untold Radio AM Wisdom of the Week. A true friend is like an invisible bridge. You only see it when you need to cross a troubled river. And also, don't forget, the shortest distance between two people is a smile. Good night. We hope to see you all next week. If you like the show tonight, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment, and most of all, subscribing and hitting the bell so you will be notified when a new episode is dropping. Also, please share this episode. Now back to Doug and Jeff for our wrap.
Yeah. And we are back. So we want to thank everybody in chat, all of our moderators. We really appreciate you guys. And Scott, it was kind of a wild ride. And sorry, I wanted to surprise you with Alex.
That was awesome. I appreciate that.
I know you really like Alex. Alex he's a wonderful man.
Great guy.
Yep.
And it was fun. And I look forward to talking again, Scott. And we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And everybody, we will see you next week. I think we have David Dominique on next week.
Cool.
And it's also a military guy. And we will be here same time. All
right, boys, let's go fishing next summer.
Yes.
Oh, I'm in.
All right, come on up.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
You get. See you, bud. All right, ciao.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head on home again. Everybody else can see where we belong. Oh, ain't no ordinary love we got going on. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait. If ever you should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait for the time when we'll be together every day. But I know if ever we'll be led astray,